and then we'll do an afternoon live chat. Been a while since I've done one of these. Let's just wait for the camera and the laptop to sync up, and then we're good to go. Let's just get the ornaments.
Have you found the Britannia 50p in your change? In this change sticker fact file, we'll tell you all you need to know about the circuit.
Just bear with me, gang. I've got a brand new laptop here and trying to work out how to turn the volume off and all of that. And it's been a whole load of fun trying to get all of this in place and in order. Right, here we go. Welcome to live chat. It doesn't have a number. It's an impromptu live chat. So tonight, this evening at 8 o'clock here in the UK, we'll be doing live chat number 42. But here we are on Tuesday afternoon. I've got an empty house, so I can actually make some noise, which normally I can't do. And for a long while doing these live chats here on Brooks's Bass Corner, I don't normally have an amplifier set up. I don't have the wherewithal to basically plug the basses in so that you guys then get a feed, and because generally I'm running this off of a camera rather than through a streaming hardware setup, I thought, well, hey, tonight's live chat number 42, I could actually get the basses out and fire up an amp and a cab and let you guys hear what the basses are that we talk about week after week. And then I thought, well, if I'm doing it this evening, there's no reason why I couldn't actually do some this afternoon. So here we go. A slightly different thing. Not Tuesday evening, it's Tuesday afternoon. But we'll see how we go. So it's 3 o'clock here in the UK, here in London town. Hope you're all safe and well. I can see live chat messages flying in. So before I start addressing those, and I can see you guys there, so it's all good. Yes. Dead Pixels, live chat 41.5. That's about right, I'd say. So this is a live chat here on Brooks's Bass Corner. We do these regularly on Tuesday evenings at 8 o'clock from here, London town, UK. This is Tuesday afternoon. So as Dead Pixels just said, this is like the 41.5 or 42 minus a half, maybe. So the way this works, if you're watching on the mobile app, here's the video window, what you're watching me on. Underneath this, you've got the live chat window. If you're on the desktop version, the live chat window is that way. So the way this works, it's a two-way street. So if you guys don't converse or post messages or questions, you end up having to listen to me for hours, going on about bass guitars and speakers and effects and everything else. Exactly, 42 the prequel, you've got that right. So the way this normally works, the live chat window on the mobile app below the video window. If you're on the desktop version, it's that way. Put your insertion point in. Any questions to do with basses, bass guitars, amplifiers, speakers, bass effects, bass accessories, gig bags, pedal boards, great bass players, bands with great bass players, albums with great bass lines on. Maybe your gear's not working, maybe something's not quite doing what it should. You just need some help with your gear. You might be looking to buy a bass, might be looking to buy some pedals, set up a pedal board, anything like that. If you're looking for some bass advice, or you just want to hang and talk basses, this is the place to do it, Brooks's Bass Corner. So it is a two-way street. So if you guys don't interact, then it's going to be probably a very short live chat. But I basically, this is a new endeavor on a Tuesday afternoon. So here in the UK, most people who frequent the evening live chats will probably be at work, but that doesn't mean you guys across the pond in the US, let me think where, so if you're in New York 10 o'clock in the morning, LA, San Francisco, you're looking probably at 7 o'clock. This might be the start of your day. Japan, Australia, Far East, this might be your evening. So if you want to talk bass guitars, here's your chance. This is what we do. I can see the messages flying in, so that's all very positive. So thank you. I'll come to you guys in a second. Anyone who frequents the channel, and the regular live chats will know that we now have merchandise. Got the Brooks's Bass Corner shirt on, of course. There's bags, we have mugs, there's caps, there's a whole load of items with Brooks's Bass Corner logos, branding. If you're interested in buying any of that, if you go to the description box below the video, you'll find links in there for the UK and Europe merchandise store. You'll find links for the US and worldwide store. Underneath this video and all videos on the channel, you'll see a merchandise shelf, which is part of YouTube. So some of these products will pop up. You may find at the moment it's just bags. We're trying to get through a problem with YouTube where they seem to have all the bags, but none of the t-shirts, none of the mugs, cups, glasses, iPhone cases, hoodies. None of that's appearing apparently at the moment. But I've got YouTube onto it. So if you can't find an item that you like, and I'll show you some of the merchandise in a second, literally just use the links that are in the description box. That'll take you through to the relevant shop store, if you like. Also in there, you'll find affiliate links for Thomann and Amazon in the description box. So if you're looking to buy anything bass related, basses, amps, pedals, accessories, gig bags, anything, I've basically set up affiliate stores on Thomann, which is based here in Europe, and Amazon for the UK and Europe and the US and worldwide. Again, independent links for each of those. The way that works, if you're thinking of buying something bass related, go to the stores. If you find what you're looking for, maybe a set of strings or a pedal or a strap or some leads, whatever. If you click on the item, add it to your basket. Go through to the basket. If you go through with the transaction, making sure it wasn't already in your basket before you added it, then it's not counted as a new purchase. If you go through with the purchase, once the items are sent out to you within a day or two of them arriving and they're not returned, Brooks's Bass Corner will acquire an affiliate percentage. It's not very much, it's small amounts, but small amounts make a bigger amount. That's how that works. Then underneath the affiliate links in the description box, you'll find all the social media links. So there's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Be Real. So let me quickly show you some of the merchandise. So obviously here's one of the t-shirts. We've got bags. There's a whole load of different bags, whole load of different t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, baseball type t-shirts, long sleeve, short sleeve, all sorts. We've got mugs with logos on. Standard mug with a logo on, but very nice, very good, not particularly expensive. Let me show you some of the shirts. I've got an array of sample merchandise here. So some of you, if you're on live chat 41 last week, you'll have seen me wearing the long sleeve t-shirt with one of the logos. Then we've got another t-shirt, short sleeve, with one of the other logos. And then we've got the baseball top, again long sleeved. I think they're short sleeved as well. Quality is fabulous. I'm really impressed with what this company is producing. Quality of the prints is great. They wash really well, iron really well. I'm really happy with this stuff. So if you'd like to help the channel out at all and wear some of the merchandise, or you're looking for some new t-shirts with some colourful logos and graphics, feel free. But again, the links are in the description box. So the way this is going to work, this afternoon's live chat, it can replicate what we do in the evening, and live chat 42 will be happening at 8 o'clock here in the UK. But we're going to do a couple of hours here in the afternoon. It can be a little less frenetic. It's whatever you guys want it to be. What I wanted to do, and what I hadn't alluded to with the evening audience, was we're going to do some bass demos. So very often we're talking about basses I've got here. Some of the guys are asking questions, or they might have seen demos or review videos here on the channel. I never have an amplifier set up, because when we're doing the live chats in the evening, it's getting later in the day, and I don't particularly want to make loads and loads of noise, and my other half might be watching TV, and that annoys her, and then the neighbours start going, he's making that row again. So today I've actually got an empty house. So I have got an amplifier here, an Aguilar AG700. I've got an SL212 cabinet, 212s with a tweeter in. I've got my basses. I've got pedal board down here with a few bits and bobs. We won't necessarily do pedals today. There's a box of them to my left, and that could make things a little tricky, cabling things up. So today's predominantly about basses. So really what I'm going to do is open it up to you guys who are watching the live chats, and in the description box you will see a list, numbers 1 to 36, of every bass I've got here at home currently. And basically you tell me which basses you want to hear, not necessarily what you want me to play. I'm no Marcus Miller or Mark King, but I will give you some demos, fiddle about with the tone controls, let you hear different things, but it's entirely up to you. If you don't want to hear the demos and you just want to chat, talk bass, hang out, that's what we'll do. It's pretty much dictated by you guys, but so basically I'm opening the floor. So like the Alembic you see behind me, you want to hear that? We've discussed it a few times on live chats recently. I can hook it up. Now obviously the sound you're going to hear is not going to be as hi-fi quality as if I was running through an audio interface. So literally the cabin amplifier right here. So once I start doing demos, I'm going to need your fine ears, finely tuned ears, let's be said, to tell me whether it's too loud, too quiet, whether you can't hear what I'm doing, whether it's just so poleaxing it's distorting. So when we get around to doing some of those, I'll wait for you to give me some guidance on that. So very quickly, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to live chat 41 and a half or 42 minus a half, whichever way you want to play it. Hope you're safe and well. Hope your bass playing's good. If you've been out gigging recently, I hope all of that is working for you. I'm just going to go into the live chat and respond to some of the messages. So let's see what we've got here. Oh, and on top of all of this, which is slightly different for me, I've got a brand new laptop to deal with, and it's still trying to set up applications and various Microsoft bits and bobs. So it's all go. It really is. So let's have a look. Let's see what's going on here. The reason for the new laptop is the old one and basically was close to kicking the bucket. It did 14 years. Bless it. It's still in a case. Where is it? Over there. But it's just got to the point where it can't update. It can't update Windows, and trying to do YouTube live chats were fine up until about Christmas time. And it got to the point it wasn't updating. As you guys were putting messages in, it wasn't working. So I had to bite the bullet, and it was time to get a new one. So let's see who we've got here. We've got Vintage Corgi. Hello, Stacy from North Carolina in the US. It is all going on. Absolutely. Dead Pixels, good to see you. Thank you for the heads up on Bass Buzz. As you know, I've now signed up to that with Bass Buzz. Very good bass forum, which goes along with, I don't know whether it's the guy that runs it and set it up. Is it Josh? I don't know if his YouTube channel is called Bass Buzz, or I need to look at it, obviously. Got so much going on at the moment. But anyway, very good bass forum. Really enjoying hanging out on there. Stacy, yes, 41 and a half, exactly. Dead Pixels, 42, the prequel. Well, tonight will be 42, the revenge, surely. Yeah, Brooks's Strikes Back. Let's see who else we've got here. Ian Maggs, welcome. Hi, Ian. Don't recognise your name, so I don't think you've attended live chats here before, but very good to see you. Thank you. What wireless connector do you recommend for an active bass? Do you know what? There's been a lot of chat about wireless systems lately on various forums. I don't know what has instigated all of that. I don't know if there's some new products appearing in shops and people are going on that. But for years I used Bayer Dynamic wireless systems. And then we got to a point a couple of years ago, more than a couple actually, probably 10 or so, where some of the frequencies for wireless units, not only microphones, but instruments, you had to start having a license, which meant a yearly payment. Or I think there was even like a lifetime license, which meant you paid even more up front in order to use certain frequencies. At that point, I moved over to using Line 6 gear because they don't run on the frequencies that are generally used for wireless applications. But I have heard recently, after I had a situation with one of my wirelesses, that it runs on a certain wavelength that can be interrupted by certain Wi-Fi devices. I wouldn't have believed it, but it happened to me on a gig back in December. Only happened once. I haven't experienced it anywhere else, but I was getting occasional dropouts. And annoyingly, I couldn't replicate the same problem the following night on a different gig. So when I did a bit of investigation online, it turned out that certain Line 6 products and the way they work on that wavelength mode of operation can get interrupted by certain devices on Wi-Fi. But I've been using the G90, which is the kind of, I think when I bought it a couple of years ago, it was the top of the range rack mounted wireless system that Line 6 did for guitar and bass. And aside from that one dropout situation back in December, I've had absolutely no problems with it. It's been fabulous. With active bass, obviously the output is going to be a lot more powerful, a lot more, well, you're going to be boosting bass, mid and treble probably on that instrument. So what you're going to end up with is a lot more power and a lot more level. So if you do kind of play with like your volume way up on your active bass and you're boosting bass frequencies, you're probably going to want to turn the gain down on the wireless so it's not distorting and bleeding. And it's always a bit of fine tuning on a particular gig, because you might do a sound check and your bass is at a certain level, yet you come on to do the gig and you're turning up to compensate, you know, wedding marquees will sap loads of your bass end and your low mids. So you're then going to start pushing your guitar harder and harder, which could then affect the wireless signal. So in that situation, really at sound check or when you're setting up, you want to go set the wireless at what you think your maximum is going to be on that gig. If you think you're going to be running the bass at full whack with some extra boosts going on, then just bring that gain structure down on the wireless. If you're playing quietly, or maybe at sound check you're too loud, then you can push the gain up a bit. Some wireless systems, I can't remember if this is the case on the Line 6 or not, you can turn up the gain both on the receiver and the transmitter, but really you want to be doing it on one, not both. Otherwise you can end up with like a whole load of problems and you're going, I don't know which thing I need to adjust. So really you want to set your wireless at a level that you aren't then having to make changes on the fly. You want everything really to be either going via the bass or maybe on a pedal or on your amp. You don't want to start getting into changing settings on a wireless unit mid-gig. It's that's just asking for trouble, or in my view it is, because it's like, well, where do you start? Is it the bass? Is it a pedal? Is it the amp? Is it the wireless? Could it be something else? So that would be my advice, Ian. I hope some of that might be helpful. By all means, fire back on the conversation. So if you want to know something else, let me know. But that's my experience of wireless units. It's not like I've used everything that's out there. But to be honest, once I got the Line 6, after years of the Beyerdynamic stuff, which I've still got, you'll see, I can see the screen that you guys are seeing. Basically, those Beyerdynamics are still in my rack here. But it's just they operate on a frequency that I would need to buy a license in order to use them. I could be very cheeky and take them out on some gigs and see if I get away with it. But if suddenly the police turned up because I'm on a police frequency, that could be a bit embarrassing, frankly. Okay, but if you want to come back to me on that, Ian, no problem. Dead Pixels. Most people in the UK don't work the weird hours I do. Tell me about it. 3-4 o'clock I'm getting in most weekends at the moment. It's anyone that gigs for a living, you know, we live the weirdest of lives, but that's the way it is. Stacey, my schedule is quite flexible too. Not everyone needs their hair cut every day. Why not? You need to be pushing that business a bit harder, surely. No, I know you work very hard, Stacey. It's okay. I'm heavily in favour of this midday impromptu thing. Well, if this turns out to be something that we can do. I can always fit in another live chat during the week. That's not a problem. I don't think this is going to quite reach the marathon levels that we do in the evening. Last week's 5 hours and... How long did we do? 5 hours and 17 minutes, I think it was, last week. Left me a little sapped on the Wednesday, I'll be honest. It was, yeah, it's certainly... I felt a bit weary on Wednesday, if I'm honest, but that's okay. So I think what we're going to do on tonight's live chat, and any of you that are attending this afternoon chat, if you wish to come over onto tonight's live chat, feel free. If you go to the video list on the channel, or you can go to any of the social media platforms, or you can go to the community tab here on YouTube, which is YouTube's version of social media, you'll find a link there for tonight's live chat. If you click on it, it'll take you through to the landing screen, the thumbnail, and you'll see a button there that says notify me. If you click on that, it'll notify you about, I think it's like 10-15 minutes before the live chat starts. So who knows what tonight's live chat holds in store. Every week is a voyage of discovery, really. So, you know, if you want to attend any of those, feel free. And actually, over the next 10 weeks, I've got all the live chats are booked in. So you can find the thumbnails and the videos are already booked in. So you can go onto my video list here on Brooks's Bass Corner on YouTube. You find those, hit the links for them, then just click on the notify me button. You can forget about it and YouTube will send you a notification nearer the time that that live chat is going to happen. Okay, more messages. Whoa, okay. RC Grinder, here we go. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. Afternoon legends, yes indeed. Line 6 are great, but like Mike said, there's a lot of Wi-Fi around at a gig now, especially with digital desks. Yep. Smartphone monitor apps. Yep. Try and put everything in 5 gigahertz to free up the 2.4 gigahertz. I hear you, my friend. I agree. Like I said, I've never been able to replicate the problem I had in December. It just went away. It was on one gig. I think I talked about it on one of the live chats before, and I think you were on the chat, because I remember you saying the same thing. I was doing the gig, and suddenly it was like the bass dropped out, and I heard it on my in-ears, and it was like, hold on, why? I haven't stopped playing. Lead hasn't popped out. New batteries in the bass. New batteries in the wireless pack. Not sure what's going on. It then happened again. By the 4th time, I was like, no, something's not right here. So I kind of stood to one side of my amp setup, and I had the wireless in a rack, and I was able to see the display. And the next time it dropped out, I saw the receiver lights drop off, and then they came back on as the bass came back on. I kept a watch on it for the second set, having changed all my batteries in everything. And throughout the second set, occasionally you'd see the level drop and then pop back on and drop and pop back. And so it was like, okay, well, there's clearly a problem. And then when I did a bit of research, it was like, okay, it can be Wi-Fi on that frequency. So there we go. And I couldn't replicate it on any other gig afterwards, no matter which frequency I was choosing, whether it was 2, 4 or 5. It was, I just couldn't replicate the problem again. So fingers crossed, it won't come back, but I've now set my my receiver and transmitter to work on 5, not the 2.4. What is the frequency to go for? There you go, Ian Mags. RC Grinder has basically spelled it out. If you can change your transmitter or receiver to be running in 5, you want them both on the same thing, obviously. 5 seems to be the frequency to go for. I say frequency, it's a wavelength, isn't it? It's also some bug type of transmitters. Nah, the G90 isn't really a bug. It's a, well, you know, don't work on active basses very well. A lot of these bug things, the small things, they are so small. and I guess it's technological advances, but I keep hearing people with them with problems. Yet on this G90 that I've got, the Line 6 G90, only that one problem in 4 years. So, you know, I'd be more inclined to go. Sometimes spending a little bit more money gets you far better results. And I guess just read online reviews. if you can go in a shop and try something. But again, until you're out on a gig, you don't know. You don't know what anything's going to do. Blame Lewis, good to see you, my friend. Hope everything's good. Action looks nice and low on that beauty. Oh, yes. It's all good, my friend. Dead Pixels, well overdue a haircut here. Well, I did mine. Well, I didn't do it personally. It got cut this morning. But I'm selling the brand, so the cap's staying well on. Okay. David Turner, good to see you. I don't think you've attended a live chat before, so you're very welcome. What do you think of lightweight speakers? Well, here, my friend, is I keep saying my friend. I sound like a traveller. Sorry, I'll stop doing that. I'll call you cousin next. I've got Aguilar SL212s here. They are my cabinets of choice. I moved over onto lightweight cabs back in 2009. For years, so I realise I've got my phone there at one angle and I've got the screen that you're seeing down here to my left. Got to work out which side I put my hands. So there you will see an EBS Proline 4x10. I've got two of them and a 2x10. They absolutely crippled my back, and in 2005 I suffered lower back nerve damage putting a review combo, not an EBS but Tech, I think it was, into a box, a packing box. I was bending over the box, the combo didn't fall into the polystyrene base as it should, so I couldn't shut the box. I lifted the combo back up, and as I reseated it, I could basically hear fibers in my back going ping, 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 and I was in. I can't explain the pain. It was horrendous for about 3 weeks. And in 2009, in my old covers band, we managed to get a residency at a venue in London, and basically they said, we're booking you for 2 gigs a week for 52 weeks. So knowing that money was going to be coming in, I then decided, right, heavyweight gear, still got it, don't tend to use it a lot, and I invested in EBS Neo, a 212 and a 210, and I used that pretty much exclusively up until the point I moved over to Aguilar in 2018. So that gear got about 9 years worth of use. Still got it, still sounds fabulous. EBS stuff is fabulous, it just sounds very different to Aguilar stuff, and Aguilar's my preference. But 212s and the SL range from Aguilar are absolutely fabulous. And once you have lightweight cabinets, to be honest, unless you're recording, there's no looking back really. Audiences don't notice the difference, but you do. Certainly the morning after a gig where you've been carrying cabinets and gear makes a big difference. Just carrying the 4x10. In fact, the 2x10 EBS is here, Proline. That is heavier than my 212 by a long chalk, and actually is heavier than the SL410. And you think for years and decades we were carrying all this gear around, but technology was such, and the price of that technology meant we didn't really jump onto it until Mark Bass came along. So there we are. So yes, lightweight cabs, you will hear a difference, but the question is, will punters and audience people hear that difference? Generally they don't. When I A-B'd the Proline stuff against the Neo EBS stuff, you could hear a difference. I certainly could, but it was a case of, do you want to be crippled in your old age? And it was like, well, no, not really. You only get the one back. So I saw that as an investment on my health. But that's, that's the way it goes. Blame Lewis, taxi firms through wireless mics used to be great. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Got a cab here for Mrs. Green at 24 East Street. That's it. Absolutely. Stacey, David Gill, how's Southern California life this morning? Yeah, Dave. I have sheet music, tab and notation, no chord progression for a guitar solo piece, gypsy jazz. What do you suggest the best way to work out a bass line? Now, well, I guess, so you've got the sheet music, you've got the tab and the notation, no chord progression. You're going to want to find what the chord notes are, aren't you? And as Sting says, until we play a note, a chord doesn't become a chord until the bass players put the bass note in. Do you have a recording or any sort of playthrough, or is it just written down? Is that all you've got? If that's all you've got, you're going to need to pick that tab and notation apart and find what your roots and your chord tones are going to be. I don't know what the simplest way of doing that is. I don't tend to play jazz as a rule. I'm not a big jazz fan, although there are jazz artists that I like a lot, like Marcus Miller, Weather Report, Stanley Clarke, Victor Bailey, Jacko, of course, a few others. But I don't play jazz, Dave. And I never know whether to call you Dave or David, Mr. Gill. So you tell me, because I know some Americans don't like being called Dave. So if it's David, it will always be David. You tell me what you prefer there. Blame Lewis. Blame Lewis. Do you not like Mark Bass? I love their light cabs and combos. Not that I don't like it. I'm not a fan of the tone. And that's just personal preference. You know, some people might look at the Aguilar and go, oh, no. All the Mark Bass stuff I've played through has had a tone that sounds kind of hard, but it sounds like, it's not like someone hitting a box. It's like it's got no character to it. It's like it's producing the note, but there's no tonal character to it. It's just, bomb, there's the note. That's all it is. I've reviewed quite a bit of Mark Bass stuff, and it is what it is. Some people love the tone. Personally, it's never floated my boat. I did an A/B with some between Gens Benz and Mark Bass. Must have been 2007, 2008. And personally, at that time, Class D was starting to make waves, and everyone was going, oh my God, we don't have to play big amps anymore. We can have these small Class D boxes. I preferred the Gens Benz tone a whole lot more than the Mark Bass amp models I was playing through. And hence I bought a Gens Benz, it was a good time later, probably about 6 years later. So that would have been 2014. But just every time I've ever played through Mark Bass, I always find it does the job. Very good for what it is, but it's not something I would gravitate towards. So it's just a personal preference. I've certainly got nothing against it. It's just for me, it just doesn't fire me up. I'm also a little concerned that the fact they won't release their schematics for repairs unless you go via an official authorized Mark Bass repair shop, which is fine. That's what I would always want with any brand. You want an official authorized place to do it. But the fact that the repairs pretty much cost more than buying a new one, it's built-in obsolescence. They want you to go and buy another amp, and when that one goes wrong, buy another amp. And I can't agree with that. You know, this gear should be fixable, but a lot of it is the nature of Class D stuff. It's too fiddly, or certain chips aren't available, or there are issues. You end up having to buy another amp, and it's like, you don't want to be throwing amps away. But maybe that's the world we're going to be living in this sort of henceforth. David Turner, thank you. Pleasure. You're very welcome. David Gills, the overcast, nice temperature. Dead Pixels. Oof, the SL212s aren't cheap. No, they were when I bought them. So, they've never been cheap. But I got these in 2018. So it was quite a way before pandemic and the exchange rate going through the roof. So, no, they're not cheap, but they are exceptionally good. And I love the fact I can carry one in both hands. Although, to be honest, it's a rarity that I use two on a gig anymore. But they are fabulous. David Gill, I have the playthrough. David, right. David Gill, you will always be David. That's fine. David Turner, agree. Mark Bass has no inspiration when it comes to tone. It does what it does, and it can be loud. And some people think it's absolutely fabulous, and that's perfectly acceptable. But to my ears, it just, with some of the basses I use, like the Statuses, the GBs, Alembic, Kubickis, I just find the Mark Bass stuff, it's not that it's sterile, it's just it's got no, it's very beige, if that makes sense. So I just find it's a bit, it just does what it needs to do. It doesn't kind of inspire me to play. Other people think it's the best sounding stuff out there, and everyone's view is right. We all have different ears. We all have different ideas what we want our gear and our guitars to sound like. So, you know, each to their own, and I'm more than happy with that. Dead Pixels. I used to work with a guy who called literally everyone Dave. He wasn't called Trigger, was he? All right, Dave. Even his wife. Excellent. I'd love to have heard that. I bet they had some conversation. Why do you keep calling me Dave? Well, it's your name. No, my name's Maureen. Is it? Oh, I thought it was Dave. Yeah. Term of endearment, apparently. Excellent. David Gill. I think you were starting to write a message there. Ian Maggs, TVM. What's that mean? Thank you very much, maybe. You missed a Y. That's all right. I'll let you off. I think we're up to date on the messages. We are. Well, here we are. Live chat 41.5 or 42 minus a half, whichever way you want to play it. It's Brooks's Bass Corner, live chat, Tuesday afternoon. A bit of a rarity. We haven't done afternoon live chat since we were in lockdown. So when I used to, well, the channel had only been going for less than a year and live chats were a bit random, but now we have a regular evening slot, 8 p.m. here in the UK, in London town. So if you haven't frequented the live chats on Brooks's Bass Corner before, you're very welcome wherever you are in the world. Hope life is treating you well. Hope your bass playing is treating you well as well. So we have a live chat this evening, live chat number 42, but this is like a little preamble, like a prologue, if you like. It's like the prequels from Star Wars, if you will. So we're doing a little warm-up kind of thing. Well, I say little, it could be 3 hours. But this live chat is going to be slightly different. So for a change, I have an amplifier and a cabinet here. We've got the bass, this bass. We've got all my basses here. So where we've spoken about basses over the, past, I guess, months, because the live chats have kind of taken on some momentum of their own in recent months. So we talk about some of the basses I show you on screen each week, but I never have a means of playing them so you can hear them. Well, today we have. And this facility will be going through into tonight's live chat as well. So I'm sure some of the regulars later on will be astounded, and they'll be absolutely gutted that they've missed this afternoon's live chat. Obviously, they'll be able to watch it after the event. This is live. I'm talking to you fine people. But all the live chats that I've done since December 2020, they're all here on the channel. You can use them as podcasts if you wish. I've thought about potentially making them podcasts, but some of them, like last week's one, past couple of weeks, they're a bit long. We're talking between 4 and 5.25 hours in length, but we get a lot of bass problems sorted out. We cover a lot of mileage, so that's my premise for the live chat is that to help people that have got bass problems. Stacy, thank you very much for the super chat, $4.99. Bless you, thank you. Oh, for the Only Fools and Horses reference, excellent. I haven't mentioned super chat and super thanks. I really should do that. So if you're watching the live chat, you're enjoying it, feel free to hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up, that would be really appreciated. You don't have to. If you give it a thumbs down, there's a problem, you don't like my presentation style, you don't want to look at basses, let me know. I can't change that, it's a bass channel, that's what we do. Also hit the notification bell so that you get the notifications when I'm posting up videos, live chats, or I post something on the community tab. All of those things help to keep the channel moving. So at the bottom of the live chat window, I'll do the big sell again when we've been going an hour, but anyway, at the bottom of the live chat window, you'll see an emoji icon. Feel free to hit the emojis. YouTube algorithm loves emojis. It means you're getting involved in the live chat. So if you want to hit those, feel free. It doesn't cost you anything. Next to it, you'll see a dollar symbol. That's called Super Chat. That allows you to make a financial contribution to the channel, keeps the channel running, allows me to buy the equipment to do all the videos. So lights, boom stands, microphones, cables, getting all of the merchandise sorted out, doing the editing, doing the sound editing, studio time for some of the video projects that I want to do further down the line. Financially, any donations to the channel will help me do that. That's kind of how it works. Now, underneath the video screen that you're watching here, you'll see a row of icons. So you'll see a thumbs up, thumbs down. So if you like it, thumbs up. If you don't like it, thumbs down. There's a share arrow, so you can share this video out to social media and email. There'll be a save button, and then you'll also see a love heart with a dollar symbol in. That's called Super Thanks. That actually exists on every video here on Brooks's Bass Corner because this channel is monetized. So in exactly the same way as Super Chat on the live chat, Super Thanks exists on every video. So if you like a particular video or you like the content that I've got here on the channel, you can hit that Super Thanks button and at any point donate to the channel. It's all very much appreciated, all gratefully received, and it just will help to maintain keeping the channel going for years and years and years. The idea in my mind is this channel will roll on for as long as possible. In my brain, hopefully 20 years, maybe more. Who knows? Maybe no one will want to listen to my stories of bass playing by the time I'm 70. Who knows? We will see. But thank you, Stacey, for your super chat payment. Very much appreciated. David Turner, is there one bass you haven't tried and would like to? Now that's a good question, David, because I don't know if you already know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. So I wrote for, I keep looking at the screen and I need to be focusing there. So I wrote for Bass Guitar Magazine here in the UK from 2004 up to 2020. And I wrote for Bass Player Magazine from 2018 till last year, 2022. So in that time, I've reviewed hundreds of basses, hundreds of amplifiers, hundreds of combos, hundreds of pedals. I've got a reasonable collection here, and clearly going into bass stores and what have you, if I see something grabs my attention, I'll go and play it. So there are many basses I've played. I'm not sure if there's anything that I've never played, but I know the couple of basses that if I was given a bottomless pit of money and I was able to complete my collection, what I would want. So I would love a Series 2 Alembic. Anyone that watches the channel knows I've got 2 Alembics already here. I've got a Mark King Signature Standard behind me. Got 20th anniversary model over there. But a Series 2 just has a tone of its own. And even the Series 1s, as fabulous as they are, they don't have that extra thing that the Series 2s have. So I'd love a Series 2. I would love a fretless pedala buzz. Probably a 4-string. I'm not a huge 5-string player. I've got a couple of 5-strings here, but a 4-string would be fabulous. I would love, as all of us would, some like top of the, pinnacle early Fender Jazzes and Precisions. But the thing is, as I intimated on a live chat either last week or the week before, the problem with buying vintage Fenders, as lovely as they are, is, well, there's a couple of things. So you're always going to be very worried about taking them out of the house. So you're not going to use them on gigs generally. Unless you do loads of recording work, they're going to have no benefit because they're not going to earn their keep. You might buy them as investments, in which case you're going to put them in the case and hide them away. That's fine. But I mean, I've always bought instruments, and I partially collect instruments to be played, to use on gigs. I don't do a lot of recording. I do a lot of gigs, and obviously now the YouTube channel, so anything I buy is going to feature in the videos. But the problem with Fender stuff, like Fender, Rickenbacker, Gibson, anything that's vintage, is that what happens if a part breaks? Now, granted, you can buy replacements, if a screw goes in a bridge saddle, or a bridge saddle locks up, or pickup dies, and you can buy replacements, or pickups can be rewound and what have you, but it's not then in its original state anymore. And you see these basses that are vintage models, and in their adverts it will say bin resprayed, next bin refretted, pickups replaced, strap buttons maybe have been changed, or tuners have been changed. Well, it's not in its original condition, so your investment is already going to take a hit. And as time goes on, these vintage instruments, if they're being played, used, kept in bad conditions, like humidity, temperature changes, things are going to rust up, lock up. It's going to be a constant source of worry. And I would love to have a couple of instruments that were made in my birth year, but I'm very wary that the investment side of it could take a massive hit if the parts deteriorated or broke or just gave up the ghost. So for me personally, I find them as much of a worry as there would be benefits to having them. So that's kind of my take. I know loads of people who've got great vintage instruments and they swear by them, but I can always tell there's that level of concern with taking them out. And unless you're on a gig where you've either got a tech or a guy who is looking after your gear while when you're out on tour, or you're doing a gig where that bass is not going to leave your side, you just don't want to be taking stuff that's worth that much. People are out there looking, I've had gigs where people have spent a lot of time looking at my gear, and I've gone off to get a drink or go to the toilet, and I've had to say to band members or friends that might be there, stand on that stage in front of that gear and don't let anyone touch it, take it, or anything, because you just never know. You never know. I mean, we did a gig once with my old covers band, and the drummer had to stop someone trying to walk out with my gig case, which had all my leads, and he said, "Where are you going with that?" "Oh, it's not yours, mate." The guy was drunk. He was trying it on. He would have got away with a bunch of pedals and some leads and strings, probably about £500 worth. And you just don't need it. It's so much grief. So basses I haven't tried and would like to. Oh, actually, there really isn't. I mean, there are so many custom bass makers out there. There's loads of those instruments I haven't played, but nothing sort of ever comes through that makes me think, God, I need to try that. Doing the London bass shows for a number of years, got to try things that I wouldn't normally see in a bass store. And that shows are great for that, because you can just sit there. The only problem is half the time you can't hear a note you're playing because the din in the hall is so loud. And certainly bass shows, it's just for about 3 days. It's like sitting in a typewriter class, and that's all it is. Or someone trying to do the world record for repeated G-string snaps. It's not great. So you're never going to get a really good sort of demo situation. I think the last couple of years that ran, we were seeing more and more manufacturers and distributors starting to do headphones, which gives you a bit more of an approximation. But again, the din in the hall is so loud that you're having to turn the headphones up to full whack, and they're bleeding through, and I can't hear. So but other than that, no, there's nothing. I can't say, David, that at the moment there's something desperately dragging me to a store or a manufacturer to try. And I've been very lucky to try loads of gear. Generally, when I was doing reviews, if I found a particular bass I liked, or really I thought, God, I could use one of these, I'd buy it. I'd either buy the one I was reviewing, or if it was a bass that had gone around various magazines and websites and what have you, maybe had a few dings or nicks here, I'd then go to the manufacturer or distributor and buy a brand new one. Actually, perfect example of that. Give me 2 seconds. Let me just take this bass off. I'll show you a bass that I bought exactly like that, and I used it on Saturday. I'd used it before, but I hadn't used it for a number of years. Let me stay there. Don't move. Let's stay. Good. 2 seconds. Let me just grab this bass. Here we go. So this is the Ibanez. I always get the model number wrong. Hold on. This is the Ibanez SRH 500 in Dragon Eye Burst. So it's a semi-acoustic Ibanez. Not particularly expensive, £500-600. I did a review of these when they just came out in Ooh, around about autumn 2017, I think it was. And I loved it. As soon as I picked one up, I thought, wow. So I played a fretted model, and my instant thought was, I need to buy one of these and get it defretted. Not that I ever played fretless at that point, but it has that woody kind of character to it. And they come fitted with flat wounds. It's quite a deep body depth, but it's sculpted, so it doesn't feel that big. Very lightweight, standard kind of Ibanez design, really. It sounds great, and it's got independent string pizzos volumes, which you can adjust here, and it's active. But anyway, so why did I use this? So I occasionally play in a Queen tribute. I played a couple of Queen tributes, but we did a show on Saturday, and the guy that runs the band wanted to run a song by Queen called My Melancholy Blues, which is on the News of the World album. It's probably the only time that Queen kind of delved into sort of jazz, kind of, you know, bluesy, swingy jazz. And it has that feel of like a you know, a smoky bar at 3 a.m. It has that kind of feel. So the original was played on a precision fretless with flat wounds. They played it live, and he used the same bass, but it's kind of, he's looking for a double bass kind of vibe on it. And I thought, well, I could take a fretless, but nah. And I've got two Washburn acoustics, and I thought, well, they would do perfectly, but I've got both of them are strung with fairly fresh strings. One's got a set half wound rotor sounds on, the other bass has got phosphor bronze strings on. It can be very bright. Now, I could have used this, which is the Groove Gear Thump, which gives you kind of like a foam mute kind of feel. Kills a lot of the note, and the problem on that song is a lot of the notes ring out. So I could have used it, and it would have made it sound... I can plug in. How about that? I can plug in. What a luxury. Can't guarantee the strings are in tune, but hey. So let me just check. I'll take that off. Tune it up, Mike. That'd be a good idea. Oh yeah, we're well out. Yeah. Cool. So let me play you what it sounds like. So it doesn't sound too double bassy as is, but I can start adjusting the treble control, tone control, sorry. But it's got flat wounds, it's got the Dario flat wound, so depending where you play it, it's got that sort of resonant, flappy tone to it. Let's just Now I don't know if this is distorting, so you guys are my gauge, okay? Now if you start increasing if I turn the tone control up, it gets more resonant, clappy. Then if you start playing over the neck, it becomes a slightly different thing. Now if I put the thump on, so the thump on, and you get this. It's that string mute thing. So it just basically kills, there's no resonance, it's just a flat dead. There's no sustain, it's just killing the note. Take it off, and you get... But anyway, I was running it with the tone control right down, so we were getting some of this. Kind of a bit of a mid boost on the amp, kept the bass kind of at zero, kept that flat, otherwise it was going to bloom all over the stage. great bass. And so, yes, it came out and it was perfect. If I'd used the Washburns, they're quite big bodies and I was standing up. So the bass would have been out here. And I thought, well, actually this will do the job, and it did. It was great. It sounded great as we were playing and through the monitors. I was like, wow, okay. That certainly did what we needed it to do. Excellent stuff. I can see there's a load of messages come up, so let me just hit like, but I'll probably run into 42 to be fair. Probably run into 42. Yeah, no, it won't. No, I'm taking a break, Dead Pixels, at 6 o'clock, so I can get some dinner and I can have an hour or two to give the throat a rest. As what I've noticed doing the long live chats on Tuesday night that go into Wednesday morning is your voice really dries out, because basically you guys are typing what you're saying, I'm saying it. So I'm saying what you guys are typing and my reply. That's the way it goes. Blame Lewis, guitarist out of Jamiroquai, does a great podcast. Rob Harris, is that who you mean? I know Rob personally. I don't follow his YouTube channel or his podcast. There isn't the time in the day. You know, the amount of people I know who since the pandemic have set up YouTube channels, podcast things. We're all doing it, but there is no time. Or for me, I have no time to sort of sit in on other people's stuff and listen to it and enjoy it as a listener. I'm so busy doing gigs. I'm not busy with the magazine anymore, so that's freed up some time. But I'm so busy planning stuff for the YouTube channel, filming, editing, sorting sound out, doing the bass videos. You know, there is no time. But Rob's great. I mean, what a guitarist. And I know him personally. So hi Rob, if you're watching. I very much doubt he's watching this. He'll have far better things to be doing with his time. David Turner, I didn't know that. What didn't you know, David? Do I have a regular gig? Okay. I've been very lucky. I've been in very few bands through my career. So when I turned professional in '95, I was in a glam rock tribute band for 3 years. I then joined a general covers band with two guys from a band called FM here in the UK, who are kind of like the British Bon Jovi. If you've heard of Thunder here in the UK, FM are along those lines, you know, classic British melodic rock. So the singer and drummer from FM, I was in their covers band from 1998 up to 2015, and we worked ourselves incredibly hard and did very well. And then I left that band in 2015. I was in another covers band for 3 years up till 2018, and I've basically been freelance ever since. I play in a couple of Queen tribute bands. I play in a couple of ABBA tribute bands. I do wedding function bands, but my main thing now is a band called Uncle Funk's Disco Inferno, which by the name you'll probably guess is a disco band, which it is. It's a show band, 9-piece band, female singers, male singer, keys, guitar, bass, two horns, drums. Sometimes we have extra percussion. It's a big old band, but it's a whole load of fun. You'll find some clips of what we do if you follow any of the bass string experiment videos here on the channel. Some of them you'll see live clips of us doing our thing. Unfortunately, there's no audio of it because I could get hit with copyright problems. So I basically have to use free YouTube audio over the top. But you'll see what we do. We do big festivals, corporate events, private events, and it's good fun. Great band to play in. As a bass player, all the disco tunes, you know, it's great. So in one way, no, I don't have a regular gig, as in I'm an organising member of a band like I was with the covers bands, but I'm in several different projects as their first call bass player, which kind of works great for me. It gives me the time to do the YouTube thing, where when I used to run some of the covers bands, there was no time ever to do anything, because you're doing paperwork, you're doing contracts, quotes for weddings, organising deps, rehearsals, sorting detail out for and coordination for gigs coming up. So I'm quite happy with the situation I've got now. It works really well for me. Blame Lewis should start a Discord group, Mike. We can share gear and bass picks. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I should. I keep hearing of Discord. I don't know how to do it. I haven't looked into it. If you want to do it, I'll join up with you. That's fine. It might be something I have to get round to. Next big thing for me is sorting out my podcasts and my Amazon affiliate videos. That's my big priority this week and next week. Discord group. Well, if you want to start one, Blame Lewis, I'll join up. No problem. David Gill, sounds as good as it looks. Yeah. And not very expensive. They do a fretless version and they also do a 5-string version. But they're really lightweight, but the sound is just great. I think when I change the strings on this, which who knows when that might be, unless a string snaps, I will put half wounds on this. Because flats are what they are, and I just like a bit more grip on my strings, I think. That mute really kills the note. Yeah, that's kind of what mutes do. I mean, I've got various sort of sponge and foam mutes, and they do exactly the same thing. Just really kill your note. But that's kind of what they were meant to be back in the day. Yeah, not feeling the thump thing. No, it's very much an acquired taste. I don't use it very often, but it's there. If someone wanted it, you might just put it on 2 strings if all you're doing is playing down the bottom end. It's an acquired thing. David Turner worked on Bass Magazine. Oh, okay. Is that Bass Magazine based in the US that was set up after Bass Player was bought by Future Publishing? Is that what you mean? Or do you mean you worked on Bass Guitar Magazine? Or did you work on Bassist Magazine, which was the forerunner? So Bassist was a Future Publishing publication from 94 up to 2000, of which I have every issue over there on my shelves. FM were a great band. They still are. They're still out gigging and touring. Fabulous singer, Mr. Steve Overland. I worked with the man for 17 years. Spent many time in various bars around the world with the gentleman. Sorry, I didn't know that you worked on a bass magazine. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, but FM are still out there, still doing the rounds. They're out on tour, I think in May, and then they're doing some stuff through the summer with Dare and Taiketo, I think. Yeah, I think someone posted me something to say, did I want to go? Unfortunately, I'm too busy doing festival gigs at that time. Dead Pixels, never actually read Bass Magazine. Again, which one do you mean? Bass Guitar Magazine, Bassist, Bass Player? There's lots of mags out there, although they're nearly all online now. But for some bizarre reason, a guy I swapped my old Yamaha for a 5-string with gave me a copy of one because it had a review of something similar. Depends which magazine it was, my friend. Right, I need to do the big sell because we've just passed an hour. I'm just going to put this bass back in a bag. I get a bit jittery leaving a GB stood up, propped up against the cabinet. Right. Good, okay. Just going to grab a quick drink, just bear with me a moment. Very good. Here we are. Live chat 41 and a half or 42 minus a half, whichever you prefer. Here on Brooks's Bass Corner, it's Tuesday afternoon. I think it's 4 o'clock. Yeah, 4 minutes past 4. Here in London town, here in the UK, you're very welcome wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Could be the middle of the night. I don't know. It could be anywhere. If you're in the US, if you're on the East Coast, I guess it's 11 o'clock. If you're on the West Coast, it will be 8 a.m. Goodness. Where's the day going? It's flying by. Hope you're all safe and well. Hope you're doing okay. Hope you're all healthy and... oh, I can see messages popping up. Any, to be fair. Can't remember the last time I read a magazine at all. No problem. Blameless, I still get readers' wives delivered. Well, you've got to have something to read when you're on the throne, I find. Usually I'm dealing with comments on YouTube videos, but there we go. So this is live chat number 41.5 here on Brooks's Bass Corner. You're very welcome. If you want to talk about bass guitars, bass amplifiers, bass speakers, bass effects, accessories, gig bags, putting a pedal board together, you might be looking to buy some new gear. Maybe you've got some money from a birthday or Christmas or some sort of celebration, you're looking to buy something new, ask me. I might be able to help you. If I can't, then one of the fine learned people here on the live chat might know something I don't and give you a heads up. So if you've got any problems with your equipment, or you're looking to put a pedal board together, or looking for a new amp, or looking for some new speakers, you don't know what you're looking for, ask me. If I can help, I will. So what justifies me taking this position? Well, I've done over 4,000 gigs. I wrote for Bass Guitar Magazine and Bass Player for close to 20 years. I've done reviews of over 500 pieces of equipment in my time. So a lot of this gear and equipment has sort of passed through my hands. So generally I kind of, or for me, I know what makes a good bass for me. Pedals, what sort of amps I like. If I don't like it, I can still give you a heads up on the sort of sound you might get from certain pieces of gear, how certain bass might sound. Even if it's not my preference, chances are I might have played one, so I can give you an idea. As you'll see, I'm wearing Brooks's Bass Corner merchandise. There are links in the description box for merchandise for UK and Europe store and a US and worldwide store. There's also affiliate links there for Thomann and Amazon.co.uk, Amazon in Europe and Amazon in America. There are social media links there for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Be Real. And at the bottom of the live chat window, so if you're on the mobile app, the live chat window is directly below. If you're on the desktop version, it's that way. At the bottom of the live chat window, you'll see an emoji icon. Feel free to give that an absolute pummeling because the YouTube algorithm loves emojis being added to live chats. It means you're getting involved. You'll also see a dollar symbol there, which is called Super Chat. That allows you to make financial donations to the channel. Underneath the video window, on every video here on Brooks's Bass Corner, you'll see a row of icons. There's a thumbs up. We love the thumbs up. That's great. There's a thumbs down. We don't like that one so much. There's a share button, a save button, and you'll see a love heart with a dollar symbol. That's called Super Thanks. Works exactly the same way as Super Chat. Just allows you to make a contribution to the channel if you're enjoying what we do here, whether you're enjoying this live chat video, other videos on the channel. You might have watched one of the interviews and thought, I really enjoyed that. You might have found a demo or a review video that might have helped you make your mind up on buying some equipment. I get messages quite regularly from people saying, I watched your video and it made my mind up to go and buy that pedal or buy that bass, or it's put me off buying that bass. So that's partly some of the reason for doing the channel, is to give people a point of reference for stuff if they can't go to a store, or maybe they're after what they think is their dream bass. I might have been able to do a demo or a review video that gives them an idea how that thing sounds, the weight, construction, how it's built, and it might either confirm what they wanted to know, or it might absolutely put them off. So in fact, this Alembic weighs about as much as a whale and need to get a taxi to get to the low F. That might put some people off. It doesn't put me off because I know how great they are tonally and how they sound. So that's what we do here on Brooks's Bass Corner. Let's see what messages we've got. Oh, we've got a couple of emojis. Well done, guys. Thank you very much. So here we are. So this is, as I say, this is an afternoon live chat. We don't normally do these, but later on this evening, in a little under 4 hours, we'll have live chat number 42, when the regular Tuesday evening brigade sort of hit the live chat, and it all goes mad and chaotic for about 4 or 5 hours. But we do manage to solve a lot of people's bass problems. We've helped various people with things like setting up a pedal board, getting your pedals in the right order. A couple of people have said, I don't know how to get such and such a sound. I'm after I want to sound like someone, and they go, but I don't know what I need to do it. And between me and the fabulous people that frequent my live chats, we've managed to sort it out for them and say, well, you need this bass, you need that amplifier, you might need these pedals or an effects processor or what have you. Use these strings, that size of pick. If we can help, we will. Just need to change that so it shows me all messages. That would be good. There we go. Ah. Let me just quickly scroll. Just bear with me a second, guys. I realised that was on top chat, not live chat. So let me just check I haven't missed any messages here. Don't think I have. Oh. Ah, here we go. I think I've dealt with everything. Yeah. Okay, Dead Pixels. Actually, thoughts on a video on tones at some point. Noted. I will look at that. When you say tones, what do you mean? Specific tones from specific basses, or how to get like a famous player's tone? Can you elaborate a little further? Got Amplitude 5 and a Zoom B14 pedal. No idea what I'm doing with either of them. Okay, I think I know what you're getting at. So how to get like a classic precision tone, classic jazz, classic StingRay. I've got a little something which, because I, as far as I'm aware, Dead Pixels, you only started coming onto the live chats last week. I don't think you were on here before. Are you aware of Sim's Super Quad pickups? Now I've got an amplifier here. This could be the perfect time for me to give a demonstration of a bass with Sim's Super Quad pickups. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, Dead Pixels, tell me and I will plug that bass in. In fact, I might do it anyway. EAZL, good to see you. Hope you're well. Any recommendations on a first pedal? Should it be multi-effects or something like a Tech 21 Sonzam? Okay. Dead Pixels, I have a Zoom B14. They're awesome. Cool. Stacy, can you see the reaction emojis that are available on the mobile app when we make them? I think so. I've got your hand claps and I've got various smiley faces. So I think I can. EAZL. First pedal. Got to have a tuner pedal. I use a Boss TU2. I realise I keep looking at that. I use a Boss TU2. I've just bought a TU3, which is going to go on my super duper festival pedal train pedal board very soon. You've got to make sure you've got a tuner. So if you're talking general effects, I'll get onto that, but you've got to have a tuner, whether it's a clip-on or a pedal. But I always say a pedal is going to be more reliable over time than a clip-on one, and the clip-on one can fly off mid-gig. First pedal as a bass player, depends what you're playing. So if you play in a funky disco-y band and you do some slapping, an envelope filter might be good. So I use the Aguilar Filter Twin. I've also got the MXR bass envelope filter. I've got a whole bunch of filters in my pedal box out there. The most mileage I ever got out of a pedal when I wasn't using pedals generally is an octave pedal. So for years I used the EBS Octabass grey label, which was their original octave pedal. You might look at a Boss OC2, OC5, I think there's OC3. You've got the MXR, vintage bass octave. Then there's the newer EBS black label pedals. So for me as a bass player that was covering loads of different genres, different songs in covers bands, an octave pedal is a godsend, because if you have to start, especially in a three-piece band where it's just bass, guitar and drums, we had tracks for like modern dancier songs, but if the guitarist was doing a solo or whatever, I've got to stay down the bottom end. But if there was a part that was in a song and the bass had to go up, kicking in that octave pedal is going to give me that sort of bottom end reinforcement. So an octave pedal doesn't necessarily mean you're in Jamiroquai and you're playing deeper underground. It's actually, you can use it as a tool, and I very often do. If I've got like there's a bass melody part that goes up, I'll kick the octaver in just to give me some bottom end reinforcement. Very lucky in the disco show band that the keyboard player sometimes does low synth bass lines, so I don't have to use the octaver, but I do. But if you want to get used to, as you say, should it be a multi-effects? If you have no history or no knowledge of using effects, and a multi-effects, certainly a non-expensive one or buying second-hand, will give you an idea what all the different effects do and how you apply them and how you can pair them up. So an octaver with a fuzz sounds great. Chorus with some distortion can sound great. A phaser with a filter on top just sounds really good, really funky. So if it's a case of you want to build your knowledge in terms of effects, what they do and how to use them, then a multi-effects might be the way to go. But be prepared that you will find with most multi-effects, as anyone who uses them for any great length of time will find, the actual standalone pedals or rack mounted units will have greater flexibility and greater quality of sound than a multi-effects. But if you want the ease of just having everything in one box, so if you go on a gig you just need that one box rather than multiple pedals, go for it. I mean, I have one of the very first Boss multi-effects was a BE5B. I've got one over there in the corner. I will be doing a demo and a review video of it at some point. And what I found with that was, yes, it was great having those effects, and I learnt what delays did and chorus and flanger and limiters and compressors and all that. But what I found was they didn't sound as good on that multi-effects as the independent pedals, but they cost a fraction of the price. Or buying the multi-effects was like half the price of buying each of the pedals that were in that multi-effects. So up to you. A Tech 21 Sons amp is only going to change your tone. It's not really an effect. It's going to give you kind of vintage classic tube kind of like an Ampeg. So if you want an Ampeg sound, then yeah, buying a Sons amp is great. To be honest, most multi-effects now have emulators within them to make you get those old vintage tube sounds. So you may find you already have that ability in there. But the other thing with the Sons amp is it's a great DI box. So depends what you're doing, what you want to use it for. David Gill, Dead Pixels, I have a Zoom. Yeah, oh yeah, we've done that. Sorry. That needs to come off. Right, I can see there is more comments there. Stacy, can you see? Oh yes, we've done that bit. Yep. Dead Pixels. Yeah, like what each effect would be suited to combined with. Okay, I will do that at some point. Let me. I won't do it now. I'll come back to that. Stacy, can you remind me later on to make a note of to do a tone video? Thank you. Cool. Okay, I think we're up to date there. So one thing I will do. So I'll get the Lodestone out in a second. So I've not demonstrated this at all on my YouTube channel. So this is my bass that I bought for my 50th birthday last year. I had it almost a year. So this is a GB Rumour 4-string made by Bernie Goodfellow of GB Guitars. It was one of his old former demo basses that he then sold to one of his business partners, and it got a respray and what have you. The wonderful thing about it is, in fact, what I'm going to have to do here, I'm going to shut my blinds and turn the light off, okay? So I've not demonstrated the sound to light system. So for months, almost a year, when you've seen this bass, I've talked about it having a sound to light system. The problem is I could never demo it because you've got to have it plugged into an amplifier so that there's sound. That's what the LEDs are running off. Somewhere in this package, whether it's a microphone or a sensor, it picks up on sound. So you can't play it acoustically. It won't do what it needs to do. So let me just, this is as much for my own amusement and to show you guys what this does. So let me just turn that light off, close the blinds, and then you'll start to see what I'm talking about. 2 seconds. So, it's all got very intimate. So, right, let me plug this in. So this should be great, or it might just be an absolute shambles. Right, let me tune up. And I haven't used this bass a lot since last summer because this was the bass I was using with Uncle Funk. And then it kind of got demoted while I'm doing the bass string experiment with the Status Empathy. So this bass actually hasn't been used on any gigs since last July. But it will be once the bass string experiment series ends. This will become the main Uncle Funk bass again. So, right, 2 seconds, because this can be exceptionally loud. Yeah. Right, let's see where we go. So it's very loud. Yeah, turn the pad on, right. Yeah, it's a bit, yeah. Okay, now I've got the light from the laptop, so let me just reduce that. So basically the Sound to Light system, this was created by Bernie Goodfellow, used in his basses. Other people have come up with variations of it. Either way, he did this back in late 90s, early 2000s. So basically either normally on a GB and my other basses got LEDs, they've got an on-off switch, that's it. This has a dial. So that's the LEDs on, they're just on, that's it, they don't do anything, right? So I've got them on there, and then we've got fibre optics. Oh no, sorry, it's a separate set, that's right, it's a separate set on the side, because then when we go through the settings, the side ones stay on, but the front starts doing weird things. So that's setting 1. Setting 2 is this. Like a sound meter, it's going from there up to here. The harder you play, so that's setting number 2. Setting 3 is this. It's so long since I've fiddled about with this, I can't even remember what all the settings are. So this is doing the sound meter thing in reverse. Okay, and then this one, that's the tarty one. That's the tarty one. Then we've got this. Okay, then we've got this. chasing thing. And then this one. Oh, that's doing its own thing. Lord knows what's going on there. And then this is like a shimmer going up and down the board, so they're bright and then off, like your Christmas tree. I can tell I've got a bit of fret buzz going on here. I need to give the truss rod a quarter turn. No, that's it. So that's all the settings. That's everything that does. Very tarty, and as we found out on our discussion last week, I explained that the batteries for the LEDs do not last very long in this bass using the sound to light system. However, since heard from a good friend of mine who's a big GB Guitars fan, and he recommended using a certain brand of lithium rechargeable batteries which offer 3 times the amount of power. So I'm going to look at investing in some of those because it could save me a small fortune in batteries when I'm using the sound to light system on particular gigs. So if I have a run of theatre gigs, maybe, rather than me basically having to put a new set of batteries in for the lights every gig, these rechargeables could do 3-4 gigs. So we'll see. So yeah, let me catch up on your messages there. I could see stuff going on while I was doing that. There we go. Sorry about the bass. It needs a truss rod tweak because I haven't used it since October. Humidity, temperature changes have happened, and I haven't given it that quarter turn. That's all it needs on a GB. Literally, it will go bonk and it will be back how it should be. EAZL, does the quality of cables matter? Well, you're into that. Are Megami worth the price? Okay. Cables has been a topic of conversation on bass forums since they started. Now you can spend a fortune on cables, and I would always say don't buy cheap cables. There's a reason they're cheap. They're probably not very well put together, and the materials aren't that great. You don't need to spend a fortune on cables. Everyone has their own preferences and how much they're willing to spend. People will always say you want to use the best cable and the best connectors. Yes, you do, but you don't want to be spending hundreds of pounds doing it unless that's your thing. It's like buying the best hi-fi equipment you can. Everyone always goes, the more you spend, the better quality component. You'll hear the difference. As you get older, your hearing deteriorates, whether you like it or not. As bass players, as musicians, we're doing gigs, chances are you're going to get tinnitus one way or another. There comes a point where you can have all the best gear, but your ears are still deteriorating. So you're not going to hear the benefits of having the best gear, the best cables, and what have you. So my advice to any bass player who's working is buy cables you can afford, buy the best you can afford. If you want my personal preference, I've been using Whirlwind cables for years, since 1996. I've not had a single Whirlwind cable go down. I've not had one break. I've not had contacts, soldering, or anything go wrong in any Whirlwind cables. Now, that's not to say it wouldn't, and certainly if something heavy spliced through, hit a cable flush, that might cause a problem. But I've never had a problem with any Whirlwind leader cables, and I've been buying them for 27 years. I've still got the original 2 that I bought in 1996, and they're the only cables I've bought since. I've never bought another brand of cable. I've got loads. I carry extras. I keep some at home, some in my gig bag, some in my emergency bag that I keep in the car all the time. I've never had a problem. So if you can, I think you're in Japan, aren't you? EAZL, I think. If you can get whirlwind cables, go for it. Alternatively, if you want to go to someone who makes up cables and they can talk you through the different brands of cable and the ends, and you know, Neutrik ends, Neutrik cables are always good. Clots are always good. There were Monster Cables was a brand that kept getting talked about. I guess they're all good in their own way, but there does come a point where certain brands will say, well, you'll hear the difference with our cable. But if your hearing's going, or you've got, you know, an issue with your hearing, then you're not going to hear that difference. But generally a good cable, if it's well put together, good contacts, good jacks, same with speak-ons. You use good components. I've got the same speak-on cables I've had for 21 years. So, you know, if you buy well, you don't need to make yourself poor buying it, but just buy quality. Look at some reviews, maybe. I mean, it's hard. I mean, you could go out and buy 5 different cables, plug them all in. You might hear some discernible difference on some, but chances are a lot of the time you're not. So you just want reliability. And certainly if you're out gigging or you're using it as a means to earn money, it's your work, which for me it always has been. I've not been let down by Whirlwind. I've always bought cables. I've never had any for free. I've bought them all, but none have ever let me down. So why would I change? So that would be my advice. Megami, I have no personal experience of them, so I couldn't possibly say. Again, look at some reviews. There will always be people who will give something a negative review regardless. So there will be those people that like them and those that don't. You just got to weigh it up. Judge, then go and try some. Judge it for yourself. Would be my my thing. James Howard. There's an awful lot of question marks. What is going on there? I'm guessing you want to join the live chat, but yeah. Oh, maybe James was wondering why the lights were down and what I was doing with the GB, maybe. Trade for my strictly one-off homemade P-bass, pretending to be a Fender. No. No, I bought that for my 50th birthday. That's going nowhere during my lifetime. Very lucky to get a hold of this, and it sounds, well, I can only tell you what it sounds like here, but it's had single coils put into it rather than the regular GB humbuckers that I have in the other basses. This thing just sounds absolutely fabulous, and I used it on a whole bunch of Uncle Funk shows last summer, loads of big festivals, and that thing just, I was getting sound men coming up going, what the hell is that bass? It's amazing. It's like, GB's been around for a long time, you just don't see them very often. But that's Bernie's build quality, pickups, circuitry. It is what it is. That's why those of us who know what GB guitars are about wax lyrical about them, because they're fabulous. There we go. Stacy, wowzers, that is too damn cool. Thank you. Speaking of rechargeable batteries, turns out they don't fit in my Yamaha. I've heard that, not just of Yamahas, but other basses, that don't take certain certain brands of rechargeable. And actually, it's been a constant thorn in my side over the years. Different brands of 9-volt batteries have different size and different contouring around the body of the battery, and sometimes they just don't fit in the like on this, it's got the flip top compartment, which is great, but very often they don't fit, or you'll get them in and you can't close it down without breaking it. Oh, for the days of a metal panel with screws, although that used to rip your t-shirts to shreds, but there we go. Had to pull all the labelling off them first. Yeah, I hear. Mostly Roland Black series cables I've got. Cool, good, cheap enough, I'm happy. That's all you can go with. If a cable let you down on a gig, then you think, well, A, has something happened, so is it the soldering? Can I get it sorted out? If it was something else and a defect in the components, then yeah, you wouldn't be sticking with it. You'd be looking around at maybe another brand or two. But as I said, I've had Whirlwind since September 1996. I've not had one go wrong yet. Please, touch wood. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah. So if there's any basses you'd like to hear, guys, if you go in the description box, you'll see a list of 36 basses that I've got here. And if you want to hear them, let's have some requests. I'll plug them in and you can have a listen. I'm just going to put this on its chair. Oh, whoa. So while you all now head off to the description box and look at the list of basses, very welcome to live chat 41.5 or 42 minus a half, whichever you prefer. This is Brooks's Bass Corner, Tuesday afternoon, early evening. We have a proper scheduled live chat, which is number 42 at 8 p.m. Here in London, UK time, so in a couple of hours, so 3.5 hours, that'll be live chat 42, and we will go through the evening. Past couple of weeks have been fairly monumental. We've had anything from 4 hours to 5.25. This particular afternoon slot, we will stop at 6 o'clock, so we've got another hour and 25 minutes. So we're talking basses, we're talking bass guitars, amplifiers, speakers, bass effect pedals, accessories, gig bags. If you've got some problems with your equipment and it needs fixing, or something's going on and you don't know how to sort it out, maybe you've got a pedal board or thinking of putting a pedal board together and you haven't got a clue what pedals to get and how to link them all up in the best chain to get the best tone, ask me. If I can help, I will. If I can't, chances are one of the fine people here on our live chat will know the answer. I'm wearing Brooks's Bass Corner merchandise. Got a whole load of it here, so I'll give you a quick rundown. So we've got mugs, we've got bags. You can see a bag there. This little tote bag. No, that's not the tote bag. The tote bag's the one with handles. That's like a, you take your food or your lunch or change your clothes to the gym or whatever in that. Then we've got the t-shirt, then we've got a selection of other t-shirts. Long sleeve tops, hold on. So we've got a baseball top here. It's the guy's baseball long sleeve top. We've got a regular t-shirt with a different logo on. And then we've got, what's that one? Oh, that's the other, that's a long sleeve t-shirt with the other logo. And if you want to check any of this stuff out, so we have a merch shelf below every video here on the channel. I think at the moment it's only showing bags for some reason. YouTube's got its pants in a twist with Spreadshirt trying to show all the merchandise, but it's taken 2 weeks. They still haven't solved it, so we'll get there eventually. But if you're looking for merch links, go in the description box. You'll find the UK and Europe Spreadshirt link. Then there's a separate US and worldwide link. It's not just this merchandise. There is literally about 150 different items. Clothes, hats, mugs, glasses, water bottles, iPhone cases, mouse mats, socks, leisure wear, baby's clothes. You're not going to put Brooks's Bass Corner on some kid's diaper, are you? Kids' t-shirts and hoodies and jackets and there's just, I can't even begin. This is like the very minor tip of the iceberg. You can, if you go on the US shop, there's even more on there than there is on the European store. Just a huge amount of stuff. So if you want to help the channel and buy some merch, get a cool t-shirt or a cap. So got the cap, obviously. Feel free. There are periodically special offers. I think the next offer is free postage, which is in a couple of weeks' time. After that, I think there's like a 15% discount. Last week was a 20% discount. But it's all there. Also in the description box, you'll find affiliate links for Thomann and Amazon. So Amazon UK, Amazon Europe, Amazon US. So if you've got any bass related purchases, maybe a new strap, some cables, a pedal, amplifier, there's some basses on there. If you go to the storefronts, either on Thomann or Amazon, clicking through on the affiliate link, find the product you want, put it in your basket, go through with the purchase, and Brooks's Bass Corner receives an affiliate payment. Last week, Martin from Dublin, he bought an Empress compressor pedal through Thomann. Brooks's Bass Corner got a very nice, small affiliate payment. Thank you, Martin. That's how it works. It's as simple as that. So if you've got something coming, maybe you need some new strings, maybe you're looking to buy one of these, the Dunlop System 65 guitar maintenance kit. All your cleaning and polishing requirements all in one box. You can buy these through Thomann or Amazon. If you're thinking of doing so, think of the channel, click on the link in the description box, and go ahead and happy shopping. And if you go through with the purchase, we get a small affiliate payment. That's how that works. Then underneath the affiliate links, you'll find social media links: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Be Real. Big sell. Done. Saw some messages. Stuart Milne. Now, that's not Stuart Milne in Kemney, in Aberdeenshire, is it? No, it can't be up Stephen Milne. I'm getting the names wrong. Don't worry, I'm having a senior moment. Don't worry, my friend. I will come to your message shortly. There were a couple just before you. EAZL, I see you have a Dingwall. Yes, sir. Are fan frets difficult to adjust to? No, exceptionally easy. Let me just grab my Dingwall. I'll give you a demonstration. All the other messages, Dead Pixels and Stuart Milne, I'll come to you in a second. Let me just grab the Dingwall. I'll show you. Sorry about that, just had to grab this. I was just filming this earlier on for a YouTube short. But anyway, now I don't know if this is in tune, so where's my button? Oh, there. So do you want me to plug this in, or should I just do it acoustically? Let's do it acoustically. So Dingwall NG2 fan fret setup, multi-scale. So the low B is 37 inches. I think the G is 34. Is it 32? I can't remember. Anyway, so we have multiple scale lengths going on. So anyone looking will be going, the frets are all odd. They're not straight. No, they're not meant to be. This is a fan fret system. So the idea is the fret angles follow the natural angles of our fingers when we're playing, and our wrists and our hands. Loads of people make a big deal about this. Say, oh, I can't possibly play it like I can't fret on there. Oh, I'm hitting all the wrong notes. No, right. When you play any regular bass, you're not looking at the bass from the front, are you? You don't tend to play like that. You don't on a gig. You're not. No, you're looking at the edge. You're looking at that. Yeah. So, along this fretboard edge, we've got black position markers, as you can probably see, and as you do on any bass, you see the fret end. The way to play this is in exactly the same way. So don't look at the front. You're not going to do that. You're looking at the side of the neck. So where that fret end is, that's where you're going to put your finger. And that's how it works. So on the, okay, if you're not using the B string, irrelevant, but when you play any bass, you're only seeing the top string, or the one that's highest action-wise. You're not seeing the frets, you're just seeing the fret end. So when it comes to putting your finger in the right position, you're using the fret end and the markers, the position markers, they're your guide. So if you start trying to think, oh, and the fret is going at that sort of angle, so just play it, okay? I'm looking at the camera. I'm not even looking what my fingers are doing. And naturally, I'm not looking at how I'm looking straight ahead down the camera here. So loads of people make a big deal about fan fret. I can't play it. Yes, you can. you're telling yourself you can't. But if you just use the position markers and the fret ends as your guide, as you would on a regular bass, then you haven't even got to think about it being fan fret, have you? You're not thinking how the frets are at angles. You're just thinking, well, that's the position I play. So I hope that answers your question. They're not difficult to adjust to. And the first time I ever had a dingwall here for review, I'd heard all this. Oh, you've got fan frets, they're very difficult to adjust. No, they're not. They're not. You make it as difficult as you want it to be. But I found, just by playing with the bass, regular position, resting on my thigh, I'm looking at black dots and fret ends, as I would on any other bass. Nothing has changed. So that is my suggestion there. Mike Dirnt P bass. Okay, I need to get that. Did you want to hear that, Dead Pixels? Do you want a demo of that? No, I don't know. That's a Mike Dirnt on the wall. It's not a Mark Hoppers. It's a Mike Dirnt. Strong with flat wounds. Love to hear the Lakeland, the one behind me. Blame Lewis. I presume that's the one you mean, not the 5502 in the rack. Okay, let me. I'll do the Lakeland first. I'll then do the Mike Dirnt. I just want to see what Stuart Milne was saying. I'm a bassist in an originals band, but we do covers as well to try and get more gigs. But despite that, we find it hard to get gigs. We have around 1,500 followers on Facebook. Okay. I'll get the old pointer to move. We get great feedback from the gigs we do, but how do bands, particularly what else, can you do to get more gigs, especially to play our original songs? Oh, okay. Right, original gigs. I'm assuming you're in the UK. Right, original gigs. Are you doing it to make money? And if you are, original gigs aren't going to do that. They're not going to generate money. To get more okay, to be honest, a lot of the places I used to play for covers, they didn't do covers and originals. It was just covers. If you dared to play original stuff, generally it would either clear the pub or people stop dancing, and the governors wouldn't be very happy with that. So my experience, I've done original gigs and I've done covers gigs. Generally the two don't mix, certainly not here in the UK. If you can find a pub that allows you to do that, make sure you quantify it and validate it with the governor before you do it. Because there's nothing worse than playing originals on a covers gig. It clears the place and then the governor doesn't pay you. And I know people who've done that. And they say, oh, we only played a couple of our own original. He said, doesn't matter. You just cleared the place. The governor of a pub is looking for money sales across the bar. That's all they care about. If you clear the place, there aren't people in there to buy drinks anymore. So the way you have to look at it is, what is the governor looking to get from us? Not what can you get out of the pub. So a lot of the gigs I used to do were gigs that we would have regularly. So we'd end up playing there once a month, twice a month, sometimes once every 2 months, depending on the venues. How to get more gigs? Everything's kind of changed, and certainly since we came out of lockdown. The problem is there are way too many bands and not enough venues. So when you're doing covers gigs, do you want to do things like weddings where you're not going to be able to play original material? Do you want to do weddings, corporate events, pubs and clubs, or are you just looking to do pubs and clubs? If you do weddings and corporate events and private bookings, you will make loads of money, but you won't be able to play original material. So that's the way that goes. How did we used to get gigs? Basically, we would absolutely hammer any venue we found. EAZL, thank you very much for your super chat payment. Thanks for the great advice as always, and thanks for the input from the chat gang. Pleasure. Thank you. You're always welcome. You know that. So if we found a venue, we would make sure that two of us in the band would approach it. So one would do it, and after 2 or 3 weeks we hadn't heard back, one of the other members would do it. And you cannot rely on phone calls, texts or emails. You have to do all of them. So, you know, as an initial thing, send an email if you can. If not, get the phone number for the person that books the bands. Call them. Don't become a nuisance constantly calling them, but give them like 3 or 4 days. They haven't replied, contact them again. Another 3 or 4 days, contact them again. It sounds like it's really annoying, and it is, but it's the only way. Sometimes some of these pub and club owners, they live on another planet. They have no manners. They think nothing of not replying to you, and that's just kind of the way it goes. If we found out that a venue or a gig we'd played was part of a chain, or maybe the guy that owned the place had several venues, go around them all. We were quite mercenary. We would go anywhere for money, but it had to be the right amount. We wouldn't travel to the ends of the country for really bad money. We just never did that. Also be aware that if you agree to do a gig on the cheap, you will always be doing that gig on the cheap. Venue owners will always say, "Oh, do one for me on the cheap, and then we'll push the price up." They never will, because they know they've got you they've had you on the cheap rate. You're never going to get the money up. You kind of have to stand your ground and know your worth. Sometimes you might miss out on a gig, but it means you aren't doing. You might take a gig on the cheap and have to turn something better paid away, and you'll be really upset if you end up in that position. So it's hard. It is really hard, and I can't sugarcoat it. When my old covers band that I did for 17 years was busy, we were busy, but we put in so much legwork building it, and what we were finding towards the end of before I left, so 2013, 2014, 2015, there were so many younger bands coming up underneath us who were so much more tech savvy, looked better than us. They couldn't play better than us, that's for sure. And they couldn't sing better than us because we had the best singer in the UK. But we were, I wouldn't say we were fighting a losing battle. It was diminishing returns because there were more and more venues that we used to play were disappearing. So we were constantly having to find new, regular bread and butter work, because the bread and butter work is what keeps you going through the quiet periods. You can't always rely. I remember once depping for a band, and they were under the assumption they would have wedding gigs throughout the year. I said, well, it doesn't work like that. There's very few weddings that ever happen in a January, February, few in March. You might get a couple in January, February if they're after special deals because it's now gone past December. But generally your busy wedding period is April to September. So don't assume you're going to have that level of work that you have through May, June, July, August when you're into the autumn and winter months. It doesn't necessarily work. You have to maximize your social media, but again, that's no guarantee of getting the gigs. Agents, a lot of agents don't really touch pub and club work anymore. And to be honest, if you do pub and club work through an agent, you're going to end up with so little money because you've got to pay their commission. Or they'll take the commission before they pay you. That's not particularly a large amount of money. So, you know, it is really a baptism of fire, but you have to be prepared to put in the graft. Very rare that a pub or club venue will come to you unless they've been recommended to by another vet. Like we would get a lot of O'Neill's managers would come to us directly because another O'Neill's manager had booked us and suggested you need to get this band into your O'Neill's. So we used to pick up a lot of residual work from that. I can see you're firing off loads of messages here, so let me get back into what you're saying. Yeah, the whole thing with the original songs is going to cause you a problem, I think. You've got more chance of doing original venues and playing 1 or 2 covers than playing covers venues and playing 1 or 2 originals, if that makes sense. Dead Pixel, wish I'd known sooner. Get most of my stuff on Amazon. Staff discount. Ah, okay. Well, I can't remember, Dead Pixels. Are you UK, Europe, US? But anyway, if you want to any of your Amazon purchases, just use a link in any of the Brooks's Bass Corner videos. It's in every description box. If you want to help me out, that'd be fabulous. Thank you. Yeah, demo would be cool. Okay, I need to do Mike Dirnt and the Lakeland. Okay. Stuart, yes, based in Scotland, not for money, just for the love of playing. Okay. It seems there's no place for originals then, just covers and tribute bands. It has progressively got worse. And I know when I've read forums and people say they do originals, and they have all been complaining for a couple of years that there's literally very few places they can play. Welcome to the entertainment industry. It's not for the faint of heart, I can assure you. We email numerous places with little or no reply. We've emailed festivals. Well, with festivals, you need to get hold of the person directly responsible for booking the artists and bands, and you've basically got to flood them with links and content of what you guys do. Again, your original material has to satisfy what they're trying to achieve with their event. So does it get people dancing? If it's guitar-y, okay, whether it's rock, folk, whatever genre it is, indie, you're going to have to target those sort of festivals. For example, I get lots of bands since I started playing with Uncle Funk. So I joined Uncle Funk in 2020. I've been a debt for them for a couple of years. With Uncle Funk, we do loads of big festivals, some really good ones as well. And I've had various friends, musicians that I know, contact me saying, "How do we get on that festival? How do we do?" Well, I'm not necessarily going to tell you that because it could mean we don't get on the festival. But it's about contacts with the festival thing. I don't have the contacts. The guy that runs Uncle Funk does. He's built that up over 30 years. So although I meet these organisers when we go and play, I don't know them. I've got no history with them other than in the past 2 or 3 years I've been playing at them. Now those bands that want to get on those rosters will have to do all the same legwork that our band leader did all those years. And it could well take years to get onto it. But you have to sell whatever it is you're selling to the person that's doing the booking. And as I say, it is not for the faint of heart. It can be extremely demoralising. I can remember a period in the old covers band, probably around 2010. So we'd had the big world recession in 2008, 2009. In 2010, we were still a very busy gigging band, but a couple of our regular sort of bread and butter gigs had fallen off. They either weren't having bands, or the venue had closed, or the manager that we'd had a great rapport with had moved to somewhere else, and the new manager just wasn't interested in either having us or any bands at all. I ended up having to print up a load of promotional packs and burn a load of CDs and DVDs, and literally get in my car, and I had to drive around a whole load of pubs and clubs trying to get some work. I think we got a couple of places out of it. Looking back, it probably cost me a fortune in petrol and stuff. But I went round 1, 2, 3, 4. I did 6 O'Neill's and 1 independent pub in one night. And I think we got 3 or 4 of those places ended up taking us on. And then we had regular work out of it. So, you know, it's very hard. It can't all be done from the warmth and security of your office. Sometimes it is showing your face, building a rapport with either the manager or the person that books for that particular venue. But it is not for the faint of heart, and prepare to be disappointed often. Iceman, good to see you. I think you've been on live chats before. I can't remember. Hi, how do you like the Aguilar AG700 with the SL cab? Love it, absolutely love it. I've had Aguilar gear since April 2018. So I have 2 SL 212s. I've got the AG700. I've got DB751 elsewhere. And I have a whole load of Aguilar pedals as well. love it all. Love all of it. The only thing that lets me down with the AG700 is I can only use one cab. I could use two if I partner, because these are 4 ohm cabs. I could use a 4 with an 8, but I don't like all that level of mismatching. I tend to use 4 ohm cabs to get more out of the amplifiers. So that's the only thing I don't like about the AG700. I'd have to use an 8 ohm cab, or I think it might be like a 112 I would be able to use. Don't like that, I want parity. So, but I do love the sound, tones are great. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, if you want to ask some more questions, Iceman, about the Aguilar gear, feel free. Anything specifically, I'll happily give you my opinion. Shoot mill on, okay, done that bit. EAZL, it's locked, come on, there we go. Your sweatshirt came last week, excellent. I wish the print was as large as the shirt you're wearing, but it's a great sweatshirt nonetheless. Okay, if you tell me what you bought, I can basically change. I know it's too late, you've already got that design. I can actually make the prints bigger. There is a facility on Spreadshirt to let you guys, the customer, make the logos and the graphics as big as you want. Maybe I'll turn that on, and then that allows you to do it in the future. Just think you got the nice, cute, small but perfectly formed logo. What you should have done was message me via the community tab, and I could have gone in to the exact thing you wanted and adjusted it for you. And sorry, this is the problem with doing merchandise. There's so many items there. See, if I do this size design on all the shirts, I'll get people going, I don't want it that big. I want it half the size of that, and I can never win. But in future, EAZL, if you want to buy some merchandise, tell me what you want, and if anything needs adjusting, tell me, and I'll do it for you. And then I'll send you a direct link for the product, and you can buy it that way. But thank you very much. Pictures would be great if you want to send pictures through, either on Messenger, on Facebook, or on Instagram. That's all good. Community tab. I don't know if you can send a picture. No, I don't think you can send a picture on the community tab. The social media would be fabulous. So if you've got pictures of you wearing the sweatshirt, that'd be fabulous. Dead Pixels will do in future. Thank you. Stuart Milne, thanks. If I can help you any further, Stuart, let me know. Iceman, I have the DB751. It's getting too heavy. Yes, sir. Can the AG700 replace it and have this 3D sound? Okay. AG700 is clear, solid state, hi-fi. DB751 is tubes and MOSFET. Two very different sounds. You're going to get the general Aguilar tone, but it's a bit like comparing an Ampeg SVT with a Portaflex. An Ampeg Portaflex. Two very different amps, different architectures. You're going to hear the tonal difference. So if I had the 751 here and we did an AB, you'd instantly go, whoa, it's very different. It is. The DB751 is like having an aircraft carrier. The AG700 is like having a frigate. It's that kind of difference. But the hi-fi tone out of this is fabulous. I love it. But again, both amps totally different from the EBS stuff. Totally different. Totally different bass tone entirely. So if you want to keep the DB751 tone, I guess you might be looking at the Tone Hammer 700 maybe, which has got more of that distortion and grind to it. Whereas the AG700 is really kind of your super clean hi-fi sound. You can push it a bit. You don't really want to be doing that. If you want that grindy kind of sweet distortion, you really want that coming out of tubes more than anything. There is something magic in the DB751. That's why it's the best bass amplifier in the world. And I'll happily stand by that. Stuart Milne, have you tried the Laney Digbeth gear? Yes, I have, sir. I did review of it for Bass Guitar... No, it wouldn't be Bass Guitar Magazine, would it? Bass Player Magazine. In 2021? Now, was it 2021? or was it 20? It would have been 2021. That's right. Yes. So you'll find that probably around, I think it was around the July, August, September issues of Bass Player 2021. So I had the whole setup. I had a Laney Digbeth amp, I had cabinets, 2 different cabinets, and I had the range of pedals. What did I think? Yeah, really good. Probably the best Laney gear I've ever heard in my life. Laney, for many, many years, were kind of always that cheap alternative to the big brands that you would consider. They did the Nexus stuff around about 2008, I think. I think Adrian Ashton did a review of it at Bass Guitar Magazine. And I was never convinced by the Nexus. I remember it being in the testing room at Oyster House for Bass Guitar Magazine, and I plugged into it once. It was like, not sure I like that. But the Digbeth was really good. Nathan East is using it, so it can't be too shabby. But I like the way they kind of worked out the tone shaping on it. It was really good. And not that expensive, as I recall. But yeah, I wouldn't trade my Aguilar stuff in for Laney, but that's, again, my preference. Right, I need to do a couple of demos of the Lakeland and the Mike Dirnt, don't I? So, right, let's then work out I'll be back in a second. So this Lakeland is a put teeth back in, a 4464 Lakeland Skyline, 4464 in ice blue metallic. It's going to be on the workbench probably tomorrow, having a setup, change of strings, total clean. It's all passive, 2 volumes, master tone. It's got the old strings since I bought it, still on there. I've done a couple of gigs with it, plays great, sounds great. Strings are old nickels, so it's not sounding super bright, but I'll give you a quick demonstration anyway. Let's tune her up. Interesting thing going on with the pickups as well, which is fine. I just I'm not overly impressed with what it does, but you'll hear. Cool. Right. It's passive, so I'll just turn that down a tad. So, as I said, 2 master volumes, okay? So, let me turn the tone control up. So, tone control's on full. Right, P pickup, all right? I'll turn it up to full. Turn the P pickup off, going onto the single coil, the jazz at the back. Listen to that drop in volume. So here's the P. Here's the J. It's like a 50% drop. I'm going to try raising it up when I do the setup tomorrow, but I'm sure that's not going to... These pickups are basically the same height. I shouldn't have to raise that like a long way up to get a similar volume. It shouldn't be like that. So anyway, if I put the P on, how loud and ballsy that is. As I add the J, you'd expect to get the tonal characteristics of the J, but what happens is the volume drops. So and I'll add the J, right? So it's like all the aggression of the P is gone, and you transients that the J's giving it, but the volume's dropped off. If I take the J off, you'll hear the volume come back up. Yeah? It's crazy. It's like the J pickup is a natural mute to the P. But I will set it up tomorrow, and I'll raise that back pickup and maybe drop the P down a little and see if that compensates. It's lovely to play. Actually. So I've been using it on a couple of Queen gigs for a few numbers. So just dialing in the P, use the tone control. Sounds great. Really comfortable, not too heavy. It looks great. Love the matching head start. It's got mother of pearl blocks with abalone corner, bottom left hand corner. Love it. But it'll be getting all set up. Nice new set of rotor sounds going on it. Get it all cleaned up, and it's had enough weeks to acclimatise. Right, let me just put the mic Dirnt on. Lovely people that asked for that. So the mic Dirnt's got a set of flat wounds on it. I had round wounds on it for many years while I was in a Green Day tribute, and I had round wounds on it even up to the point that I started the YouTube channel. And then I had a Jazz 62 reissue that I sold, which the flats were on, and the guy didn't want flats, he wanted rounds. So I put a set of round wounds, and I thought, well, I'll keep hold of those flats, and I stuck them on the mic Dirnt. So you are not going to get the hyper spiky grindiness that you tend to get with this bass, because it's got the flats on. So I've got some muck off the wall hangers on that headstock. Right. But it's great. I love the pickup on this 59p. As Mike Dirnt said, it sounds like a pickup in your brain. An ice pick in your brain. Sorry, not pickup. What am I on about? Going stir crazy. Come on, here we go. Where are we? Oh, no, nearly. So this is with tone control all the way up, much louder than the Lakeland. I haven't changed anything on the amp. It's just the nature of that pickup. It's big and ballsy. Tone control right down, it's almost sublime. Oh. Somewhere in between. I mean, it's very bright. It's like playing a set of round wounds that are kind of totally played off, but the pickup is so lively and spiky that you wouldn't necessarily know you were playing flat wounds. These are rotor sound flat wounds. That's the My Dirnt for you. You always know it's a proper one if it's got the star on the neck plate, which is the same as the tattoo which he had for his daughter, apparently. Right, then Pixel, deep breath, yes. Iceman, raise little the bridge pickup and lower a little the P pickup. That is exactly what I'll be doing to that Lakeland. I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Maybe that is a feature of the Skylines that the pickups aren't quite, which is daft because I've got a Skyline 5502 over there and there's no mismatch in pickups on that. Might be I just swap those pickups out for something. Might put a set of Aguilars in there. Advertising in here, don't I? So I can see it on the screen. I will turn around to the handle. Dead Pixels, love it. TI Jazz Flats on your P, excellent. Strings worth more than the bass itself. Yeah, well they are about 50 quid a set, aren't they? So they're not cheap. I've not knowingly played a set. I've not bought any. I've always been very happy with these Rotor Sound flats, so I'm stuck with these. Do you ever use a fretless bass on a gig? In my whole career, never. Okay, I've got a Kubicki Ex-Factor over there that was fretted. I had it made fretless 21 years ago, and in that time I've never, whether on a recording or a gig, ever played fretless. However, during lockdown I decided it was about time I started to address this, even though I may never get asked to play fretless on a gig, that I don't play fretless, and I think it's something I should have in my armory of techniques and playing. So I bought some books, thought, got the time, started the YouTube channel and found I had no time at all to do any of that. Anyway, start of this year I thought, no, it's about time we address this. I'm 51 in a couple of weeks. Time to start having a crack at some fretless playing. Some of my favourite bass players are great fretless players. One of the guys I grew up depping for, Bob Skeet of Wishbone Ash, was a huge fretless player for many, many years. Amazing player, amazing lines. His use of fretless in a rock band is just outstanding. Anyway, I thought if I'm going to do fretless, there's no way I'm starting out woodshedding on my Kubicki, because that is going to take an absolute pounding, and it's now worth, its value's going up because of you know, the original maker is no longer with us. So I've ended up buying a bass from the Bass Centre here in the UK. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my screen here. So I've bought a bass from the Bass Centre here in the UK. I've bought one of their Jive basses, which is their basic jazz model, and they've defretted it for me. So I now have a fretless. It's in the bag there. I can get it if you want to hear it. I can't guarantee I can play it particularly well as a fretless because I've just not put any of the time in. But the idea is I'm going to use that bass and chronicle my fretless journey through videos here on YouTube. So you'll be able to see me making a complete hash of being a fretless player, and hopefully over time you'll see some of the progress I make, fingers crossed. But it's a lovely bass. So I ended up opting, because the Jive bass comes in a whole array of different colours and finishes, I ended up going for a Alembic white with a tortoiseshell plate, and it plays great. Not that I'm a fretless expert, but even I know just playing it was like, whoa, okay, this is great, which was exactly what I wanted it to be. Fast fret on flat wounds, crazy smooth. I have to say, Dead Pixels, these rotor sounds are really smooth anyway. Love them, they're great. turn the tone up. So you imagine what this sounds like with a set of round ones on. It's Mike Dirnt. This is flats. Lively is the best way to describe it. I mean, you shouldn't be able to really do that on a set of flats. It's the liveliness of this pickup. I need to just grab a drink. I can feel my throat getting a bit dry. I have some pedals down here, by the way, so if you want some funkiness, I can give you some of that. A bit of octave, if you fancy that. Actually, EAZL, are you still there? We were talking what pedal to get first. And we were talking about octave pedals. Here you go. I'll talk you through the settings, there's various settings on this pedal. I've also got the Digitech Drop pedal, which I've banged on about on various live chats and videos before. Dead Pixels, maybe one day I'll be able to play like this. You can play like it now. There's nothing, I'm not doing anything particularly hard. EAZL, right, sounds great. Okay, this is an Octabass, EBS Octabass Black Label pedal. So, you've got two controls. Normal, which is your, let me turn it on and you'll hear it, right. So normal is your regular signal. So it's how much of your regular signal you're going to have in the mix. So with it turned down, obviously there's no volume. As I'm turning it up, you'll get more of the regular tone. You then have another control, which is for octave. So you're determining how much of the octave signal you want in. So if I turn normal down and turn octave full up, all you're going to end up with is the sub note of, so if I play a high G, you'll get, that's the octave, which is a bit synth-like. Okay? If I then factor in the normal, you'll get the top end note with it. There's another switch on here called range. At the bottom it's low, in the middle it's mid, and at the top it's high, which is basically how you want that octave to perform. So are you going for a high octave so you're getting the lower note, but do you want it more high frequency, mid frequency, or low frequency? So if I go with if I set the octave at midday and the normal signal at 3 o'clock, okay, and so at the moment with my tone control up, I've got the range set at high, okay. If I set it to mid, it's this. Which is a bit more hefty. And then low is this. So that's a low D. So 5th fret A string. high, you're getting a higher octave of it. You're getting more like top end definition on that octave note. Generally with these they don't track great after a low B or an A. And you'll hear it start sort of tracking in and out. If I go for a low A, as the note decays, it starts struggling to track and you'll hear it. So generally I don't use it below a B. So that's kind of what I do with that. I've got a Digitake drop here, which basically allows you to drop tunings by semitones. That has an octave facility on it. So basically it will give me an octave and an octave below. I'll compare the two sounds. So here's the EBS Octabass as we've just played it, all right? Now if I kick in the drop, it's a bit more of a synthetic kind of octave than the EBS, but it's smoother. Yeah, there you go. Hope that gives you a rough approximation of what you can do with an octave pedal. Dead Pixels, yeah, drop pedals an actual godsend. It is, and I saw someone not slagging it off, kind of picking it apart a bit on Bass Chat. I think it was Bass Chat, or was it Bass Fuzz? Can't remember. Anyway, basically people going, oh yeah, it's very synthetic, I couldn't use it. I've always said after about 3 semitones, maybe 4 at a push, for bass, it's kind of, it doesn't work. It just gets too mushy. You lose your top end. It just has a weird sound of its own once you go past 3 or 4 semitones. On guitar, because it's a higher frequency instrument, you can keep, do the past the 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. But on bass, it doesn't tend to work. But for that 1, 2 or 3 semitone down tuning, it's a godsend. And I wish I'd had this from like the moment I turned professional in '95. And in the covers band that I did for 17 years, we were always a semitone down tuning. So we always tuned to E flat. It would have meant, many of the time I would bring a new bass onto the gig, try it semitone down, it was awful. It either didn't work or the bass did not appreciate moving between concert and semitone down tuning as I did different gigs with different bands. If I'd had that pedal, it wouldn't even have been a problem. I'd have tuned them all at concert pitch, use that pedal, 1 step down, problem solved. Would have all been done. So there we go. So we've got, what's the time? It's just coming up at 5:30. We've got another 30 minutes of this live chat, 41.5 or 42 minus a half, whichever way you want to play it. And after this, I'm going to go and grab some dinner. I'm going to freshen up for a bit, try and get the voice back a bit. Actually, I'm fine. It's when we do the 5.5 hour marathon session that it tends to go. But we'll be back at, we're not going yet, we've got another 30 minutes, but at 6 o'clock at the top of the hour, we're going to have a couple of hours off. Let you guys, well, you can freshen up as well if you wish, but refresh the parts, get some cold ones down your gizzard, and we'll be back at 8 o'clock UK time. So it's be a 2-hour gap, and then we're into live chat number 42. Now, the good thing, for those who normally attend the live chats, they were probably totally unaware this one was going ahead, because I didn't announce it until about 1 o'clock. And I didn't put it up onto YouTube as an actual thing until 2 o'clock. So they've missed out on all this glorious chat and gear demos. So you guys have got the gold, and dread to think what rubbish they're going to get later. But there we are. We will see. Ay, ay, ay. Let's have a think. No, I haven't pulled that out of the rack, have I? Spare me a moment, guys. Just picking up a bass. The flavour of the month. Since Saturday's announcement from Status Graphite with the new remastered basses. Here's an original. A 1990, maybe a 91. It's number 416, as I recall. It is 416. So it's a Status Graphite Series 2000. Amazing bass, amazing sounds. This used to belong to Stuart Clayton. Any of you, what evening, Stu, if you're watching? He won't be, he'll be busy. Forget what the controls are. Here we go. LEDs, of course. Goes without saying. It's a Status. Volume's up, right. And then we've got bass and treble. Right. If you've not heard one of these before, you're in for a treat. Although the way I play it, maybe not. If any of you are thinking he's pretty shabby as a bass player, I'm not a great solo, unaccompanied solo bass player. It's not my thing. I play best in bands with other people and drummers and stuff like that. So I sound pretty shabby when it's, and I've always been embarrassed going into stores and using stuff. What I want to hear when I like review a bass, when I was doing magazine reviews, I want to hear tones, I want to hear flavours, what the pickups can do, what the circuitry can do. And so I always sound like someone's just thrown me down the stairs with a bass strapped on. But I can assure you, I do know what I'm doing. I wouldn't have done 4,000 gigs if I didn't. Cool. Hello Kev, just saw you turn up there, my friend. So, it's got a set of Piccato 4000 double ball end strings. It's bright, put it that way. There's the bass. Pots are a little noisy because I just don't use this all the time. I did for a while. It's got really hi-fi. You ready? How about that? But a lot of the time you can't use it like that. You get kicked off the game. Oh, noisy pots. They'll be going on the workbench in a couple of weeks. Normally it's just a case of, right, Brooks's tip for you, you've got noisy pots on your bass. It might not need anything doing to it. Just turn the pot. They're normally self-lubricating. You got tone, volume, pickup pan, all of them. Not just on Status basses, any maker bass. You don't use your bass for a while, don't use the control, you'll get noisy pots. Don't need to take it to a luthier. There, it's gone. Just self-lubricate. So you can wind the treble in. They just play great. I can see messages flying in. Drop pedal, yeah, God's sake, right, I've done that. Dead pixels, yeah, struggles a bit getting fairly low, talking about the Digitech drop pedal. But for using multiple tunings at a time, saves so much messing around. Yeah. Agree with you. Kevin, my FL is just like that, but has the blue teal tint. That is a beauty. What are we talking about, Kev? My FL. Fretless? Your FL. What was the bass I had before? The mic Dirnt on before. Hooligan. I presume you're talking about the status, Kev. That is nice. Just can't get past a headless. Well, I've never had a problem with it. I had a headless Honer for a long while. The lovely thing is if you don't use double ball end strings, or you can't find any, or you can't get any, the statuses come with a set of grub screws, so you can use normal strings. You just wind them in, clamp the screw down, cut the end off, Bob's your uncle. So it makes, like when you go abroad and you either can't take loads of gear, or you haven't got time to do a restring on a gig, you got a set of double ball end strings, or even just regular with the clamp. You can change a set of strings on a status in about 3 minutes. So it's a good thing. Kev, they honestly sit wonderfully in the mix of a band. I presume we're talking about this status. Yeah? I had a status long ago and it had amazing pickups. Why did you get rid of it, Iceman? We need to know these things. Ah, you had number 120, Kev, got you. Pickup and you get level 42 True Colours album. That's about as far as I'm going on that one. It's been years since I played that. But that little lick has stayed with me for 30 years. At the time, 20 years ago, so 2003, I didn't have enough money to buy another bass, so I sold it to buy a Fender Jazz. But if you needed the Jazz in order to do gigs with a particular band because they couldn't have you with a status, I get it. I've heard that story a million times. Nothing sounds like them. See numbers dwindling. Oh well, we're getting close to tea time. That'll be why. Stuart Milne, is the bass active only or can it do passive and active? Okay, the older versions of the 2000 had a active passive switch. This is a 1990-91. They got rid of the active passive switch, so I don't have that luxury. The switch is for the LEDs. So yeah, I don't have that luxury, but I think the new ones that Rob is producing, the remasters and the anniversary, they've got the active passive switch. The question is, do you want to spend between £5 and £7.5 grand for one? So I hope some of you are going to make it over to the evening's live chat. Should be a lively affair. We normally get quite what's the word I was going to say, speedy. But the questions and the chat sort of, it's quite quick fire. So yeah, it's all good. Stuart Milne, would you? What? Would I what? Would I go on to tonight's live chat? Absolutely. I'm on it. It's my chat. Dead Pixels, never even spent close to that on a car. Never mind a bass. Now, my car that I currently own was the most expensive car I've bought. That's probably close to that. But no, yeah, it kind of, I knew the prices were going to be that high for those statuses and sorry. But the thing is, they haven't even been built from scratch. They're reclaimed bodies, molds, well, not molds, they're the casts. From a project years and years ago, there was a guy who had all these old bodies that Status rejected. And basically, Rob bought them back and has fashioned them. I mean, they look fabulous. They're going to be fabulous. But they're not brand spanking new. But they'll be great. But I don't know if there's even any left. I know someone was posting on Bass Chat earlier today that they tried to send them an email and not heard anything back. So I'm assuming that means they've either all been sold. Let's be fair, there weren't many. 30? I think it was 12 and 18, wasn't it? I think. But, you know, they're going to be great basses. They'll become collector's items, so. I couldn't justify it. And I wouldn't want to buy it just to stick it in a case and let it appreciate. Seems a bit of a waste to me. Stuart, would I spend £7 grand on the new Status basses? No. No. I have to say, I did toy with the idea when I saw one was about 5,400. I think there was a cheaper one as well. There was a 499 one. And I thought, no. I'd have to do it as a credit card purchase and pay it off over time, but no, I've got enough here to keep me busy. Someone's going to buy those and yeah, they'll go up in price. I don't know they're going to meet WOW levels. I don't know if that's, I mean, existing State-I aren't meeting WOW levels, so, but there will be that time when all the big British manufacturers are no longer with us and all of their wares are going to jump up. You know, JD's will start going through the roof. Status has already started that. I guess GB's will. Yeah, you know, we've had a golden period of about 40 years with some great British bass manufacturers, and maybe that time's coming to an end, sadly. But yeah, what an influence they've all had on the bass world, you know. and then chuck Mark King into the mix. And that kind of justifies it all, really. One man has been, not single-handed, but a huge influence on those three brands alone. Well, not WoW, JD, Status, GB. They're almost the foundations of all of their success, really. Now, who would have bought shares in Trace Elliot before Mark King got his hands on one of them and kept those shares through until Level 42 split up in '94? Someone would have done rather well, I feel. The prices do Fender custom shop bases are ridiculous, in my opinion. Yes, agreed. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the other live chats, Stuart. I did a review of a Squier classic 60s jazz at the Gallery in Camden back in August 2019, and it was in Bass Guitar Magazine Bass Player, and that bass was probably about £341, I think. And on the day I reviewed it, I was at the Gallery, and they had loads of old vintage basses, custom shop basses. A couple of custom shops in there were sort of close to £4 grand, and that Squier beat them all. And I'm not joking. That one. I don't mean that product. So if I had 10 of them, they wouldn't all have sounded the same. But that one example in that shop beat a load of the custom shop jazzes that were there. It was just outstanding. Bouncy, lively, really nice bottom end, well set up, great construction. It was a Squier, you know. It's not you know, it's not a 1962 jazz, but it was phenomenal for £341. I possibly should have bought it. However, having said that, a couple of weeks later I bought Betsy from the Bass Centre, and that's equally as good. Big shout out to the Bass Centre. Barry Morehouse, good afternoon, sir. Hope you're well, if you're watching. Anyone who regularly follows the channel or comes onto the live chat, you'll know I'll extol the virtues of the Betsy bass till the cows come home. So, and in fact, I'll probably plug it in later, because there'll be some people on this evening's live chat that will want to hear it, and they've heard me talk about it often enough and not heard it. I'm sure Lewis Wingrove, the majestic Lewis Wingrove, will want to hear it, because he's been talking about contacting the Bass Centre for a purchase. So I'm sure you'll be interested to hear how Betsy sounds, and the fretless as well. Yeah. So we got another, what we got there? 11 minutes till tea time, dinner time. And then we'll have a little break for a couple of hours, and then we'll do round two. It's the big push. The evening one is a bit of a war of attrition, but we get there. We get there. There's some good laughs on the evening chat. So yeah. So if you are coming through to stage 2, by all means have a look at the description box and make up a little list of the basses you'd like me to do some demos of later on. I'll be more than happy to do so while we've got an amplifier and I can make some noise. So if there's a couple of things in there you've been even considering buying yourself, or even some basses that you've never actually had a chance to play or hear, I'll do my best to accommodate you as best I can. We're not going to do any pedals other than what I've got here on my board, because it'll just take too much time going and getting them out of the box. But maybe on a future live chat I'll have a display here, or shelf or something, with all my pedals, and you guys can request them as you wish, and we'll see what you guys want to hear. So yeah, so I'll do a quick shout out thing before we go for dinner. So this has been Brooks's live chat. On a Tuesday afternoon, we've got the longer live chat number 42 coming up this evening. If you want to attend that and you're thinking, oh, how do I do it? Well, you can either just come back onto the channel at around 8 o'clock UK time, so in 2 hours and 10 minutes, or you can actually go through onto the videos list at the moment. You'll find number 42 sitting there. It might say pending, I don't know. But anyway, if you click on the link and you'll see a little grey box that says notify me, click on that and it will send you a notification about 10 minutes before the live chat starts. And that will just remind you that we are doing a live chat at 8 o'clock. And actually the next 10 weeks, I've got live chats all booked in all the way every Tuesday through to the end of May. So I wasn't originally going to do that, but it seems to be working so well that why wouldn't you? So we're booked in every Tuesday for a bass live chat at 8 PM here in London. And so yes, Brooks's Bass Corner merchandise now available. You'll see bags, mugs, got the t-shirt on. There's a whole bunch of other merchandise there. I'll show it later on the later live chat. If you go into the description box below this video, you'll find links for the UK and Europe store, and then there's also a separate link for the US and worldwide store. Underneath that, you'll find affiliate links for Thomann and Amazon. So if you've got any bass related purchases, maybe a new bass, amp, speaker, combo, accessories, gig bag, leads, strings, pedals, there are stores there. Follow the links. The Thomann links are broken down into like shop departments. There's one for effects, one for amps, one for basses, one for cleaning products like this kind of thing, Dunlop 65, maintenance kit. And on Amazon it's basically a storefront with, again, separate sections. The way that works, you go through the link, find the product you want, add it to your basket. If you go through the transaction, once the products come out to you, Brooks's Bass Corner receives an affiliate payment from either Amazon or Thomann. And then in the description box after the affiliate links, you'll find social media links for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Be Real. So you can follow me, my exploits on there if you wish. At the bottom of the live chat window, so whether you're following it now or if you're following the chat after the event, you can still keep up with the conversation. Even though the live chat window is then closed, you can send comments, messages, questions via the comments box below. At the bottom of the live chat window, you'll find an emoji symbol. So feel free to hit those whenever you're here on a live chat. And also you'll see a dollar symbol, which is the super chat facility, which allows you to make a financial donation to the channel, keeps the channel going and oils the wheels of progress, if you like. Underneath the video, you'll find icons, thumbs up, thumbs down. We prefer the thumbs up. That means you like the video. Thumbs down if you're not so keen. There's a share button. There's a save button, which allows you to watch the video at a later date. You'll also find a love heart with a dollar symbol in. That's called Super Thanks. Works exactly the same as Super Chat. Just allows you to make a contribution to the channel if you enjoy a particular video or you're enjoying all the content here on the channel. And that's about that. Obviously, if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button below. Also hit the notification bell so you get notifications when I post up new videos, and also when I post on the community tab here on YouTube. I get people asking me, what's the community tab all about? That's basically YouTube's version of social media. So I try and post on there once a day, sometimes every other day. Sometimes it can be several times in a day. But I do make fairly regular posts on there. And sometimes that's for things that don't go on the other social media platforms. So it's well worth being notified. Again, that's why you hit the notification bell and hit the subscribe button so you get all the notifications that stuff's going on here on the channel. So there we go. There we go. Thank you everyone for attending this afternoon. We've got another couple of minutes, then I'll wind it down. But thank you for all attending. I hope it's been useful. I hope it's been fun. Hope you've enjoyed it. I know I have. It's been nice to be able to get the basses and actually make a din. I can't actually remember the last time I had an amplifier here in my office. I know I'm surrounded by them, but they're not all hooked up. and actually was able to make some noise. A lot of my practice for gigs and learning stuff is just done either via DI box. I take a send from the PC into the box and headphones into the box and the bass, or I do it via my mixer that's over there. I do everything silently because not only do I work from home, my partner works from home as well, so she needs some peace and quiet. Can't have me being the thunder god every day. So that's how we work silently. But while she's away for a couple of days, I can make a right old din. It's been good fun. So I hope you all have a pleasant couple of hours. If you're in the UK and you're attending the live chat later, make sure you go and get your dinner. And I hope it's good. I know I'm what am I having? I'm fajitering this evening. So I've got to go and cook fajitas for me. So we'll refuel. I was contemplating having a bit of a snooze, but maybe not. So yeah, we'll have dinner, freshen up, and we'll come back for round 2. Yeah. Don't give me a bass, I'll start frimmicking around on it. It's the worst thing. It used to happen when I interviewed people for the magazine. If they had a bass with them, they'd do this all the time, and I thought, that is really annoying. And then I got to a point where I started doing it. You just subconsciously start playing. It's nothing discernible. You couldn't tell what it is. It's just, I'm just playing a major scale, really. And there we go. Good finger exercise. Ooh. The joys of graphite, they show up the merest mistake. Get that string grinding sound. Cool. Right. I will bid you farewell. I will look forward to seeing you in a couple of hours. We will be back here. You'll need to go to the video that's specifically for that live chat. So don't try and, what's the word? You won't be able to get to live chat 42 from this video. So what you need to do is go and find the thumbnail and the video on the channel for live chat 42, or you'll find links on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can access it from that, or from the community tab, because I put up a post earlier with a link there for it. If you're worried you might forget and not attend, there's a notification button there. If you hit that, YouTube will send you a notification about 10 minutes before the live chat starts at 8 o'clock. So 2 hours, and then we'll be back and we'll have another go. There'll be a whole load of other people attending, but thank you everyone, all you guys, all the new people who've attended today. Thank you very much. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you for the super chat donations. You lovely people. Keep the channel flying. So, you know, it's all good at the moment. Everything is in green in the analytics page. Everything is progressing very nicely. So thank you. Without you guys, this isn't a channel. It'd just be me posting up videos. But with you guys and your interaction, your merchandise purchases and everything else, we're all going good. Thank you very much. Right, I will bid you farewell. Thank you for a very fun 3 hours. It's good fun. I'll see you in 2, and we'll be back here at 8 o'clock UK time. So thank you very much, everyone who's attended. If you're watching this after the event, thank you for watching as well. And again, you can leave comments, leave questions in the comments box, and I'll come back to you as soon as I see them. Right, fajitas are calling. Take it easy. I'll see you in a couple of hours. All the best.